What is up, everybody? Thank you for the resub, Narasu, 21 months, and Alabear7, thank you. Hold on, I'm kind of phoning that in, but my sound is messed up, so I'm trying to fix this for a second here. I can't hear, like, bits and shit, so hold on a second. What a good professional start to the stream. Okay, I think I kind of fixed it. Anyway, again, thank you for the resubs, guys. I really appreciate it. Alabear7 and Neorasu, that's it. I vaguely in the ballpark on these names. Okay. Imagine subscribing to this guy for over a year. Anyways, so they added the big robot guy. Hold on, I gotta... Everything is going wrong with OBS right now, so I'm trying to fix this shit. Okay. Let me know if the sound volumes are fucked up, because it's all screwy here. Anyway, so chat, I rolled, I used 20 summon tickets, actually 21 summon tickets, and I used, like, 700 SQ. So that's a lot. And I did that on my main account, right? My big boy main account. And first summon, I got Attila. Because, of course I did. I blame Dragonlad for this. And I did get the big robot guy, which that's great. But the big robot guy was actually the second thing that I wanted, right? It was not the main thing that I wanted. The main thing that I wanted was coup copies. And actually, let me just jump on my main account real quick here, and we'll just assess the situation here. Okay, so I got so fucking many of like everything except for coup. This got pretty ridiculous. Let's see. Okay, so Fergus, we got 4 Ferguses. Okay, we got 3 Saber Giliuses, we got 5 Caesars. That's all the sabers, by the way, except for Bedivere, but you couldn't get Bedivere. That's every saber right in the pool. So we got, you know, a bunch right there. We got 3 William Tells, 5 Riceman, and actually I was looking through my coins. Riceman is apparently the 3-star I have gotten the most since they added the coin system. So that's great. We got 5 Billies, only 2 Kid Gills, but that's something. We got 5 Davids, 4 Uriels, 4 Robins, and I actually had way more Baldies than this. I think I counted earlier, I got 13, but I actually had to burn a lot of them because I was out of inventory space. I was trying not to burn the servants, but I had so many Baldies that I had to burn a bunch of copies of them. I don't remember exactly how many it was, but it was a lot. Let's see, you got 4 Deermids, 2 Hectors, 3 Romuluses. I think is that every Lancer except Coup? And see, there's a Coup there, but I already had that one. That's not actually, that was not from the summon. I think one of those Proto Coups actually already had 2, so I think I only got 2 Proto Coups. But yeah, I think I pretty much got everything except for Coup. I know I got Medeas and Medusas. Oh yeah, I got Astolfo, because of course I did. Only 2 Medusas, and actually one of those I might have already had. So actually, Medusa didn't go so good there. Only one Ushi, 3 Alexes, 3 Bodikas. Oh yeah, we got Yuri Pirates again. So yeah, pretty much only 2 Avisi Bronze, only 1 Babbage, and Geronimo. But I actually think I got every 3-star except for Ku. I even got the new one, the new guy. I got only 1 of him though. I only got 1 of him. But I'm pretty sure I got every single 3-star in the entire game, except for Ku. And yeah, we got Fuma. Only 1 Serenity though, apparently. A lot of 100 faces, a lot of Ezo, which, you know, it's nice. Get Ezo coins, so I don't have to worry about that in the future. Got Jekyll and Hyde. Got Jin K. I don't think we missed anyone but Ku. But yeah, it kind of sucks one of these days. And then after using all that SQ, I actually used all my FP, and I still didn't get Ku. So I don't think I scrolled down enough to get to the Berserkers there. I don't think I didn't see a Kiyohime or any of that. I'm pretty sure though I did get Darius. I may not have gotten Lu Bu though, now that I think about it. But here we're on the Steno account. Let me put that in the title. But we'll play on both accounts. Actually, let's play on the main first. Let's just use the new guy against like the dragon or something. So he is kind of weird. It's weird. Some people are saying he's like godly. I don't think he's like godly at all. He's kind of good if you're using Veach, but who's not good if you're using like Veach and Obrim and stuff. So I don't think he's like that good. Like his damage is actually kind of meh, but he's solid. I think he's a good unit, but I don't think he's anything too crazy. Isn't it Minamoto? I think is how you say his name. Anyway, let's jump on the main and fight the dragon. Let me switch my monitor over. I was actually playing through OBS there, but that is a nightmare. There we go. All right, now I can see him. Yeah, he looks cool, and he's not weak. I don't think he's weak at all. I think he's a solid AoE archer, but I don't think he's meta at all. Like, no way. He's just good, right? He's just good. I don't think he's like gonna replace Ishtar or Gilgamesh or even Tesla. But yeah, he's just a solid unit. Probably, I haven't used him much, but I don't think he's that good at soloing unless you're on water and the enemy's lawful, because he gets a buster up on his NP if it's water field, and then he just does more damage to lawful. So in that situation, he'll actually do like single target damage, which is really good. And then his buster crits will be really huge because he'll get that extra buster up. But if they're not that, I really don't think he's anything too special. It actually makes me kind of sad because it'll be hard to do much with him, like for videos that would be unique. He doesn't really do anything too special. It is interesting though, when his guts procs, he will clear his own debuffs. And that buff actually lingers. So I think my monitor just crashed. But the buff lingers, so like if he uses his guts, clears his debuffs, and then you could put guts on him from like the Mystic Code or something like that, he will clear his debuffs again. I'm trying to fix my damn monitor. Everything is just going wrong today. I swear, the second I started my stream, everything is exploding here. Like OBS decided to reset all of my settings mid-stream there. Now my monitor is like on fire. But I don't think his guts stacks with other guts, so I don't think you can... let me check on that, let me see. I didn't really test that. You know, his guts does not stack with other guts unless the wiki is wrong, which it could be because they fuck that up sometimes. His guts doesn't stack, I tested. Because yeah, it'd actually be really nice if it did, because you could give him a guts CE or something like that, and you could just have his ability proccing over and over. That would actually be really good. But the best you can really do is have him guts, have it go off, then use the Mist Code and have it go off. And maybe if you're on a team, you have Romulus or a unit like that, give him guts. But he has a 30% battery, so if you get his passive, you can be 50% right off the bat. All that good stuff. Alright. That's enough blabbing. I did get Lobo a lot. I actually, I got so many 4 stars, right? So I used 700 SQ, 27 tickets, and I got some spooks. I got Rama, I got Yuri Pirates, I got Astolfo. I think I got one other 4-star that I'm forgetting. So I got a lot of spooks, but I got Lobo 6 times, which is like crazy good. Oh yeah, isn't it like 4th of July? People are here fireworks outside. Fantastic. Oh joy, why do people have to be like this? Alright, let's get George in here, and then Arash. So my only like huge complaint is the same complaint I had at, yeah, it's July 3rd, but it's July 4th in a few hours, so like 3.5 hours or something like that. But like many units, he has a cut-in and his NP. Now, unlike a lot of them, it's actually kind of a good cut-in and it actually fits decently well. So that's nice, but they are lazy, and because they didn't want to draw his cut-in for his other sprites, he just, for no reason, switches to stage 3 no matter what stage he's in. And there's not even lore around that as far as I can tell. They literally just made that up. And like in the story, like he uses his NP in Lost Belt 6.5. And he does not transform into stage 3. He stays in stage 2 and uses his NP. But for his NP in this, for just no fucking reason, he goes to stage 3 for the cut-in. I'm so sick of them doing that. Like if they're so lazy that they don't want to draw the cut-in, or just do the NP in general for the different stages, don't make a fucking cut-in, right? I would much rather not have a cut-in and have my fucking NP actually match my stage. Like, and they keep like trying to act like it's a lore thing, right? They keep trying to like, oh, they're getting serious, so they go to their 3rd stage. They just keep making that up just to as an excuse to not, you know, actually do it properly. I should probably change his command codes. That the Buster one's not any good. Okay, hold on. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, I'd be like, this is great. But, also, I don't know if everyone will realize this because I don't know how many people are giant Gundam nerds, but some of his Gundam references are way too on the nose. It reminds me of Odysseus. Now, Odysseus is probably the most on the nose thing I've ever seen because they literally copy paste like the camera angle and the sparks kicking up and everything from like the Freedom Gundam's launch from Gundam Seed. It's like, it's exactly the same, right? And it's just like, oh, I'm watching Gundam Seed now. But they're pretty damn on the nose in this as well. His NP is a reference to X Gundam. And I know only 5 people have ever watched X Gundam, but if you have, it's not, you know, it's not a subtle reference. It's, and he, one of the sound effects that's playing in the background of his NP is like the beam charge sound effect from like all the old Gundam series, like Gundam Wing, X Gundam, UC, and stuff like that. And then a lot of his attacking animations, they tweak them a little bit. They are like the stock Gundam sound effects, but they like added like an echo effect to it and kind of obfuscated it a little bit. But they absolutely are using like stock sound effects that Gundam used back in the day. And you know, that's the sound effects. Like I don't mind, right? That's okay. But the NP is a bit on the nose for my taste, especially because he's not a joke servant, right? If he was a summer servant, then I wouldn't really care. If they wanted to be that on the nose, but for a main story, you know, actual serious character, it's a bit much. But overall, I still like the character, and the NP is pretty cool regardless. Also, Gundam X sucks. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Everyone like tries to hype it up because of the meme, you know, I'm a doctor, but right, 'cause that's from Gundam X. But Gundam X is terrible. That is, I do not like that. The main character is the most obnoxious thing ever. The pacing is atrocious. The animation's not very good. It's not a good time. Don't go there. But let's see. We'll go with Siegfried's. I know someone in chat now is going to give me shit because I don't like Gundam X, but that's a pretty tame take. I don't think we need this, so we will go with a Star Bomb. So I think we're going to need that. I almost want to cut the heal boost, but I don't think that's a good idea. They have a lot of Gundam references in FGO, though. Like, a lot. More than, I think, just about anything else. Yeah, I feel pretty confident that there are more Gundam references in FGO than any other thing. Now, if you combine all the other references together of all the different series and manga and movies and shit, all of them combined are more than the Gundam ones. But no single series, I think, has as many references as Gundam and FGO. What do I give him? Default, Anniversary, Blonde, or Atlas? For short term, it's definitely this, and this is actually really good for him, especially if there's a lot of debuffs in the fight, because this basically clears debuffs for him because of his second skill. But there's no debuffs here. Well, there is debuffs here, but not enough for me to care. Atlas, let's see, his cooldowns are 5, 6, 7. I don't know about Atlas. I'm thinking default. I think we go default, especially because we have heal boost. Okay, off we go. Yeah, that's not just a Shining Finger reference. It's actually his final Ascension art is like copy-pasted from like official art from G Gundam, and here I'll link that in. I bring this up every once in a while, but I literally have like my own Discord where I send messages to myself if like I need to like transfer like pictures or whatever. And I've got a picture of that. There it is. Yeah, that's not, I mean, that is so, like, some people will argue some of the references are just coincidences, right? And sometimes it is, right? Sometimes things are just coincidentally similar. But that's not, because like not only does he do, it's his NP, like his signature attack from G Gundam, but then his final ascension is like straight up from it, so. Warlock, thank you for the 4-month sub, dude, I appreciate it. Wait, what horn? What? Was did I make a Discord noise and I didn't realize it or something? I legitimately didn't hear any horn. Am I deaf? What? Might have just been like fireworks or whatever. I kind of blocked that out after a while. Oh, he made a horn sound in his intro. Okay, yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that. Noises. Game is a little loud there. I think I may have turned it down too much. I'll get my NP no matter what. So I want to just do minimum damage here. I'll put his animations in slow-mo in a minute so we can see it more clearly. Like that quick animation he just did, it has all kinds of Gundam sound effects in it, especially in slow-mo. Alright, let me see this point. I wasn't paying attention. Pasted from like official art from G Gundam, and here I'll link that in. Wait, what caused that? That doesn't sound like it's in game, and I've been using him a good bit today, and I don't remember him ever making that noise. I don't think that was in game. I'm so confused. I have no idea what that was. I did not hear that because I wasn't paying attention. I don't know why that would be from Discord. I don't have like custom sounds on my Discord to make that noise. I truly do not know what that was. I don't know if that was like in real life and I just didn't notice. I have absolutely no idea. Yeah, I have no clue what that was. Truck-kun. Alright, let's let me reset my camera real quick. I can tell the sound effects are messed up, and the only way to fix it generally is resetting it. It's his intro? Was that seriously his intro? Because I've been using him, like I said today, and I never heard that. and I had like my sound on and stuff, and I even recorded some stuff, and I never heard that. Now, I could have just gotten my Taunt Walls intro every time, and I probably wouldn't have noticed, to be honest, but, it is part of his intro. It's weird that it sounds so different, like the audio quality is so different. He has 3 intros. Yeah, I guess I just normally got my Taunt Walls, and then if I did get one of his intros, I just happened to get one of the other 2, because I never heard that. That is wild. Okay. Graphics are messed up, but we'll just deal with it. Not exactly a good turn for star generation, which is like all I cared about here. Now his third skill is pretty unique. It gives him NP up every turn for 5 turns. So he just keeps applying it. It also gives him sure hit for 5 turns. Ultimately though, it's not that strong if the enemy doesn't have evade. Like, it's not, you know, 10% NP or it is 10% NP, but it's the NP up as well. Like, it's nice. It's mainly good if you're working with like the whole Veach thing where your buster cards give you battery, because then that would give you battery, then this will give you battery, and it's good for just like NPing and NPing and NPing. But in most typical gameplay, I don't think it's that good. It's not bad, right? Yeah, it's a nice chunk, but you're never gonna stack all of, because here's the thing, if you stacked all the NP ups, you're losing damage by not NPing, right? If you waited that many turns to not NP, you're whiffing battery, right? And then you're losing damage, because you could have just NP, done the damage, and started like building up again. So it's not worth it to do that unless you're in some weird stage where there's like a gimmick where it's not about total damage, but it's about burst damage at a specific time, or getting through damage cut, or whatever. So yeah, you're not gonna do that practically. I wish I'd gotten one of my Star Bomb command codes, that would've helped. Yeah, that is pretty similar to Suzuka's third skill. Yeah, obviously he's good with Oberon, but I mean everybody is, so like what fucking Buster Archer, like let's say you need an AoE Archer, right? Like what like Tesla, Gilgamesh, Ishtar, all of that stuff is perfectly fine and will kill things really easily if you're doing like Veach, Oberon, all that meta nonsense. So like sure, he can work with them, but I don't see how it's like really any better. Unless you are fighting Lawful, especially Lawful on water, then he's really, really good. But generally speaking, there's, I just don't think there's anything that special in his toolkit practically. I don't think he's weak, but it's not like, oh man, throw all the other archers out the window, we got this guy now, right? Like, no way. We'll save our battery skill. Do I want to do my first skill? I have fuck all crit chance, but I mean, maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe I should have saved that, but I think we're just gonna count on. Do I really want to do that Buster card? We'll lose the heal. You know what I should have done is I should have tried to get rid of it earlier, so it'd be on cooldown right now, and then come back by the time I needed it. So if I don't do it, I'll miss out on the Buster bonus, the 3 of a kind bonus, and the Buster up on that card. Where I could NP and then make stars. Nah, it's okay. Like, yeah, it sucks to whiff the heal, but I can do the heal boost with the Mystic Code heal anyway. Yeah, I'm glad he's not broken, but that's... The thing is, he's not ultimately that useful. I really, like, especially if you're not doing meta stuff. And if you're doing meta stuff, I mean, who cares? I mean, literally, who cares? Like, oh wow, you 3-turn something with, you know, Oberon, Veach, Merlin, Waver, like, who gives a flying fuck about that? And outside of that, I don't think he's that good. Like, if you had, like, a budget team with him on it, I don't think that's very powerful. Like, I can't think of a way I could really do anything, like, in a video for him that... Because I don't think he's good for soloing. I think he's absolutely terrible for soloing. And again, unless they're specifically lawful, you need AoE and it's on a water field, right? But that's really unlikely. And like, for God's sakes, I can think of 4 stars that are going to be more useful than him. But like, I mean, he's cool. Like, he's not, you know, cheap, right? He's not going to make your game a bore, so I'll say that. And he looks amazing. But I don't know. I just don't see his gameplay being that spicy, right? Like, if you're going to put a 5-star on the team, he's one of the lower impact ones you could possibly put on the team, in my opinion. Because like, I don't use 5 stars in videos much, and when I do, I mean, I guess I'd be more okay using him just because he is weaker, but he would honestly... There's no world where I'd be like stuck on a stage and like, oh, I need something stronger, and I'll bring him and that'll make it work, right? That will never happen, right? It'd be either you're stuck on the stage, you put him on the team, and you're still stuck on the stage, or you just use something else, right? Like, I just don't think he's gonna be that helpful. I do not want to do this skill right now because I don't think I'm actually gonna have guts go off in 3 turns. So we shall wait. I actually kind of want to just go full Stargin here, and I can get NP while I'm at it. Yeah, that seems pretty good. But yeah, if you're just gonna play the game and like have fun with it, and you want to use him to fight content just for fun, it's fine, right? He'll perform decently well. He won't make this content a bore, but he's not going to be anything, you know, too exceptional. Arjuna is way better than him, like, for most things. Well, that depends, right? Like, if you're going full meta ham, and there's no debuffs, you don't really need Arjuna, but Arjuna's way better than him, I would say. Because Arjuna also has a bunch of battery, and NP per turn, and 5-turn debuff immunity, and he's got an upgraded NP, Buster up, NP up, and he's just, Arjuna's got so much going for him. Arjuna's really good, because here's the cool thing about Arjuna, it's like, debuffs are actually a pretty common thing, right? It's not rare that you have a boss fight where debuffs are really relevant, and then Arjuna completely shuts that down. So you need a good AoE unit, and it's a debuff challenge quest. Arjuna's godly. Like, he gets his NP really... I honestly don't know where the reputation for Arjuna being bad comes from. I don't get it. I've used him enough for, like, really hard content, and I'm like, what are people on about? He gets his NP super fast, his NP hits really hard, he has amazing utility, and like some of the best soft survival you can have. Like, he heals himself for so much, it's absurd. Like, his only flaw is he doesn't hit like as hard as Gilgamesh, but you need something that hits that hard. And he doesn't have hard survival. But honestly, a lot of good archers don't have hard survival. Gil doesn't have any. Ishtar's got it 80% of the time. You know, Arjuna doesn't have it. And I mean, Tesla does, I guess. I mean, Tesla's really good. I will say, ever since Tesla's last buff, I think Tesla's pretty incredible. But I think Arjuna's great. I honestly have no idea. I think people just got mad because they didn't like him because they killed Karna and they got spooked by him. And then he's never been the best archer, but I think people really have just exaggerated like about him being bad. I just think that's nonsense. Like, I think he's good, and I think sometimes he's like busted in how good he can be. Not as often as some of the other 5-star archers for sure, but like, I think he's way more useful than this guy. Even though I like this guy a lot, I think he's super cool, but I definitely think Arjuna is more useful. Like, no question. Like, Arjuna can do really good damage, has you know, some similar niches to this guy with like the repeat NPing and stuff, and then Arjuna is just way tankier, so much tankier, then has like the best anti-debuff in the game. He has 5-turn debuff immunity, unlimited charges, and then you can recast it before it's ran out. Like, that is so powerful. Like, that alone is so useful that you're going to have stages that come along where he just completely shuts it down. Okay, I want to get my NP next turn. I need to use my crit buff before it wears off. Probably cast Guts next turn. Actually, I probably should NP one more time, then cast Guts. Unless I don't get my NP this turn. If I do Buster Art Buster, I might not get it this turn. Buster Art Buster is nice, though. I'm doing this one first because how many charges of my crit do I have? Only... Wait, no, his crit buff lasts 3 turns. It's not charges. Only his Buster up is charges. So I should do that the other way around. Okay, we might not get our NP here. Oh, I need to put his animations in slow-mo. Some of his coolest animations, though, are for combos that he will, like, never do, which is kind of annoying. Son of a bitch. Well, that's whipping a lot of battery, but I think it's worse not to do it at all. I don't think I'm gonna heal until my guts goes off, which is kind of weird because I could probably like heal and then have the cooldown come back, but it just wouldn't amount to anything. Yeah, like his initiating quick, although sometimes he'll actually do his initiating quick when he's got the Buster card first. But that one looks really cool, but it's hard to get it. And his close range Buster is kind of hard to get. Dude, like that charge-up sound effect in the background, it's pretty muffled so it's hard to hear, though that is a stock Gundam sound effect. And like a lot of his movements are as well. I might do a really unoptimized combo coming up just to show off some cool animations. I mean, the zoom in is fine. I think that works really well for him, especially because it maintains the cut in as it zooms out and you can see his full body with the bow as he shoots it. It like works, right? I don't mind that. What I do mind is because they're so fucking lazy, they didn't want to draw that pose for each ascension stage, so they just bullshit slap him in stage 3 for no reason. Even though he used his NP in stage 2 in the story, right? I fucking don't like that at all. Like, even though it's one of the few cut-ins that I like, it's not worth the laziness, I would say. And yeah, I don't think they're going to pull a BB and eventually patch it. I mean, look how long it took them to do that for BB. And BB is crazy popular. So I don't see that happening. I mean, if the unit's not ready, don't release them, right? Like, if you can't finish the animation in time, don't do it. And the thing is, I don't think they're even trying. I don't think they see this guy as important enough from, like, a sales perspective to bother animating his or making his NP cut in for all 3 stages. So like it's not even a matter of time. They're like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Like, I don't think they ever intended to do that. Okay, let's do. I wonder if he'll do his. Okay, let's. I think this will work. Damn, nope. Messed it up. That Buster is super cool though. But that was the wrong art and the wrong quick, but fix it on the next technique. Who needs optimized combos? Although I'm not careful, we'll lose this stage, because he really is not that good at soloing. Slow-mo Richard. I mean, his bow has like tech, so it makes a beam saber, so it's not as silly as some of the units out there. Okay, let's do. I think let's Buster quick art. That ought to do what I want. Nope. I think it's random what his initial Buster is, because he's got a long-range Buster where he just shoots. And if you do that one, he'll do like a flying quick one. Might do that combo again just to see. So like, never mind actually winning, we're gonna start spamming really shitty combos because I want to see this. That is a lot of damage, sir. Hey look! He debuffed us, and then we instantly got rid of it. That's really good. I like that. Okay, we will heal ourselves. Yeah, I am probably going to lose, though, because I'm being very silly with my combos here. Alright, let's see if it does the same thing or if it's random. We'll have to do it several times, though. Nope, see, now he's doing that Buster, so it's random which one he does. So he's got a different art that I really like. Which I think if we do art, we'll get it. I mean, he's not doing badly, but he would win if I was just playing like, seriously. I guess I'll NP art. That should show off what I want. Yeah, he has loads of like old school Gundam sound effects. And like, they're not references, they're literally the same sound effects because they're, a lot of them are like stock sound effects from like the 80s and 90s. The, don't get used too much anymore. I might as well evade because I'll have guts for later. Yeah, if you have buff block, you'll still get wrecked, but it's not that big of a deal. I really don't like his stage 3 that much though, and it really sucks that he goes into it for his NP because they're lazy. I'm just so sick of NPs like that. I remember when they started making NPs like that, because this is very common now. Like, it's actually such a complaint I have about FGO. It's just unit after unit after unit. They find some bullshit excuse to make their NP the same no matter what Ascension stage they're in, so they don't have to put as much work into it. I am so sick of that. And it is just so common. I remember they did it with Dino Mom, and I was like, wow, this is fucking lazy. And I remember so many people defended it like some artistic choice. And now they're just doing it over and over and over and over. It's like, okay, guys, do we get the point yet? Now, I don't think Gundam ever used the Wilhelm scream. That really wasn't, that's not really a Japanese thing. That's definitely more of a, you know, English-speaking, mainstream media, like, editor's joke more than anything. I'm sure some anime out there has used it, though. Well, the cut-in spam definitely helped it along because it incentivized them to do it because it's less work. It's a lot less work if the if you're gonna do a cut-in, if you only have to do one cut-in, it's way easier. But a lot of the early cut-ins, they actually did the different ascensions for, right? Like a lot of them. It's I feel like only like the last year and a half they've really started just spam the. Wow, somehow they're always in stage 3 for their NP, or all their stages at the same time, or, you know, whatever the fuck. That definitely has been a more recent thing. Okay, I need to not die this turn because I need guts. We don't have heal, unfortunately. I will do this then. I don't think this music is inspiring. Not quite sure that's the way to go with that. Dude, he still didn't do the art. I think he has 3 art animations. That's kind of surprising. No, Sherlock's not even close to the first unit to get a cut-in. Pretty sure the first unit to get a cut-in, though, is King of Son. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I guess Sherlock is pretty old, though. He's way older than I'm thinking. For some reason, I was thinking Sherlock wasn't added until, like, Lost Belt 2, but that's not right. He was added in, like, the Epic of Remnant era, or whatever. So yeah, he's actually been in the game for a while. But King of Son, I'm pretty sure still beat him, because that was... King of Son was, although not obtainable yet, was in, like, his playable sprite and, you know, gameplay was in Babylonia. Which I'm pretty sure beats Sherlock. But yeah, I guess Sherlock actually was sooner than I was thinking. Yeah, I don't, I should think about what is some of the older cut-ins? Because Sherlock are certainly old. What is MASH had, I guess the Guadia thing. That's after Babylonia, though. And that's after the 2nd year anniversary. Tristan didn't really have a cut-in. Like, Tristan's was like them just zooming in on his actual sprite, I'm pretty sure. And no, not Scath at all. What the hell are you? Scath was so far into the game. Like, her original NP didn't have it, and then her animation update was that is so far after. Summer Nero was decently early. That wasn't exactly a cut-in, but it was a custom sprite, so it's close enough. but that's way after. What's the name? Babylonia and second year anniversary. Now Scatty's Lost Belt 2. That's way after. Yeah, I think it's King Hassan. I'm pretty sure it's King Hassan. It's King Hassan and Sherlock seem like the two oldest I can think of. I can't. Let me see. I guess Moriarty is decently early as well, because he's Epic of Remnant 1. And although it's not exactly the same kind of cut-in you see, it is still a custom sprite for the NP. That's a bit different, but that is early. Not as early as the other two. Let's see, what else is there? I don't think there really is, because they didn't do anything else like that for a while. Normal BB? No, Normal BB doesn't have a cut-in. No, yeah, she kind of does. That's again different, but yeah, no, that does kind of. That's right. She's got like the peace sign thing. Let's see that CCC. When was CCC? That was like Epic of Remnant, like 3, roughly. Wasn't it around there? So that's still after a lot of the other stuff. MASH is probably the first in Camelot. I don't think she has one in Camelot though. She doesn't have like the really special one except for like the Guadia interaction, unless I'm forgetting something. I mean, I guess she does have that front pose. It's not like the same outside of Guadia, but there is that. Yeah, that kind of counts. Now that I think about it, that does kind of count. So that actually might be different. I need to look at that again. To be honest, I kind of forget how they do it. That's like way less effort though than even King of Sons. Like King of Sons is definitely the closest to like the modern version of what we're talking about, but MASH does kind of count, I would say. I would love to wait one turn to do Guts because then I don't whip the battery, and I could actually heal myself for 2,000 here, so Oh, I'm gonna try it, chat. This is greedy as fuck, but we were being so like dumb with our combos earlier to show off our animations that I need that greedy value. I think a lot of people are thinking of a different match cut-in. That's not what I think Kat was referring to earlier. Like she actually has a front fight that they don't really use, kind of like that cut-in. Now that I think about it, there was no reason for me to take this risk. I should have just killed him here. I literally could have just BBB'd and just killed him right there. Yeah, there was no reason to risk dying like that. If it wasn't for that 2k heal though, I would have died. Although, if I hadn't done the 2k heal, I would have already killed the boss. Okay. We'll do, back to the combo we want. Not looking like it. Nope, no, there it is, That one seems to be really hard to get. So that combo is so bad, I don't think we're going to kill him. Which is kind of good, it makes it easier for me to cancel the stage. And thank you, Master Sinpies, that's the name. Thank you for the 15-month sub, dude, I really appreciate it. A lot of resubs today, guys. Okay, let's see what else we can do here. That was so suboptimal, but hey, we won. I'm trying to think, where could we go to actually test him? Like, gameplay-wise. I mean, I guess there's Lobo. We could use him against Lobo. I mean, we normally give people a break when they're AoE there, right? Like, you're not expecting them to do as well as AoE. But yeah, I guess he'll at least get value out of his sure hit there. And speaking of resubs, Izinji. I think it's Izinji. Thank you for the 11 months. Basically a year. I appreciate it. Versus Tam. I see what you did there. Chat, I had to farm so much QP today to get him 10-10-10. It was brutal. And Lost in the Gasha, thank you for the gifted sub. Actually, I didn't even realize Lost has gifted me 37 subs. That's kind of crazy, actually. And then he just comes in here and acts like a child, but you know, we'll still take it. And thanks for giving it to Zod too, because he deserves it. And Renwick for the 29 months. Now I just feel bad and everyone's resubbing. But thank you guys. Alright, what do we need for Lobo? Probably defense removal, that is generally a good idea. I just happened to come in. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, still playing FGO. You know, it has its faults and it can drive me crazy, but I still enjoy it a lot. But, you know, I have been playing other games more, so... I'm sure eventually we'll have to, you know, change to it. I figure by the time FGO dies, though, there'll be more Fate games, and we can play some of those as well. I hope there are more, like, big Fate games that come out and are very successful, and that'd be nice. A lot of Fate games, though, end up being very shallow, so I don't see good things in the near future, but I think eventually they'll get the IP sorted out. Really, Type Moon just needs to hire better companies to make the games for them. They're always hiring these nobody companies to make shovelware, and there's no reason to do that. Like, they're a big enough brand that they can hire, you know, big name companies to make proper fucking video games for them. Like, dude, the extra remake is gonna suck, dude. I'm calling it. It may not suck in terms of, like, writing and stuff, but, like, it's gonna be a shallow as fuck game. It's fucking paper, rock, scissors again. They already showed that in, like, the videos and stuff. It's who wants to play paper, rock, scissors? Like, are you kidding me? Like, that is so, the extra remake is, like, exactly what I'm talking about with how shallow they are. You know, Extella Link, right? Super shallow. Yeah, I mean, Melty Blood is probably the least shallow thing that they make, but that's not even Fate, so just not supers. Yeah, I just wish they would take their time and make some proper video games. I think it'd be worth their while. Like, they're an IP that's lasted long enough, because a lot of big IPs, they want to strike while the iron is hot, and they want to get a game out as quickly as possible while they're still relevant. But Fate has remained relevant for so many years, they don't need to do that. I played Elden Ring a lot, but I haven't been playing it much lately because they are refusing to do PvP balance patches, and the PvP is in a horrible state through purely bad balance, so I'm kind of just waiting for them to do some patches for that game. Alright, it's Lobo time. I hate that it makes me do this every time I want to get on my ult account. Well, the thing is, people make fun of their PvP a lot, but, like, I don't think their PvP actually is that bad most of the time. Like, they normally launch as bad and they patch the shit out of it. Elden Ring has been some of the least patching they've done for PvP. If you look at the patch cycle for Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2, and even Dark Souls 1, they patched it a lot. And made it a lot more balanced, especially Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is actually a pretty balanced game. The big issues it has is just, like, you know, the, like, net code, right? But, like, they actually did a pretty good job balancing the PvP in that. And they put a decent amount of effort into balancing the PvP and Armored Core and those kinds of games. Like, Elden Ring really stands out to me. Okay, Bloodborne was a PvP disaster. That I agree with, but I don't think they actually wanted Bloodborne to be a PvP game, right? They clearly put way less effort into it. But that's kind of how Elden Ring is. I think Bloodborne and Elden Ring have the most in common in the way that they had designed them. The PvP is an afterthought. They put it where you don't have to interact with it, where all the other games you have to interact with the PvP. For Elden Ring and Bloodborne, it's completely optional, and it's actually, like, obscured and actually kind of difficult to do. And then both of those games, they put very little effort into balancing. Though, some reliable sources that potentially work at FromSoft and have, like, predicted a lot of stuff before are saying that FromSoft is aware that Elden Ring is kind of in a bad state PvP-wise, and they want to fix it. So hopefully they're, you know, gonna put out some big balance patches for it, or like with the DLC or whatever, so we'll see. But it is disappointing. I like Elden Ring a lot, and the PvP is a complete shit show, and I wish that was not the case. Okay, we need to go pick up Remnant number 1. Yeah, Bloodborne, though. Bloodborne is a smaller game, though, than Elden Ring. It has less development time, it has less development cost. It didn't get as many patches in the first place. I don't think they just did not care about the PvP in that one. I actually think the issue with Elden Ring isn't so much they didn't care about the PvP, it's that they kind of rushed the game, and the game is so huge that it's just hard for them to keep up with everything. And they just did not have time to sit down and really think about the PvP like they did with the other games. And they literally had to rush it out, right? The PvP is like an afterthought, not because they didn't care, but because they didn't have time. Like with Bloodborne, I think it's an afterthought because they didn't care. But with Elden Ring, I don't think that's the case. Alright, let's do a budget team here. I have not used him in this kind of context yet. Aside from like buff stacking, I've buff stacked him with budget units, but that's not a practical thing you do much. I feel like Hans is really good because he's going to need to crit. Oh, did you get him twice in one go, Beastly? That's awesome. What to start with? I might start with Chin just for the taunt. It's a little strange. Maybe 20, 30. And then Leonidas is really good. How do we still not have a Leonidas animation update? Yeah, I tell you, I've never been burned out with FGO. I have been frustrated with their development practice, though. That frustrates me constantly. But I never burn out on FGO because I play other games, and if FGO is being garbage and not doing anything, I just go play Arknights or Elden Ring or whatever, and then I come back when there's something good to do. And whenever there is something good to do, I always like it a lot. So I've never been burnt out. Now, if I only played FGO, I probably would be burnt out, but yeah, when FGO is not worth my time, I just don't bother with it, and then when it is, then I do. Now, I wish they'd fix some of that. I wish it was more like Arknights, so it was worth your time more. That's kind of the problem I have with FGO, is it's not worth your time for just so often, because there is no story replay and no side game modes like a boss rush mode or a challenge tower. They don't have anything like that, and that's kind of annoying to me. The thing is, you don't have to grind. It's like, it's really easy to get an account to a point where you're really established and you only need to like grind every time there's a new unit that you want, which is probably not going to be that often unless you're a whale. And then you'll kind of just passively, as you kind of just, you know, play around and do events or whatever, you'll passively build up a lot of faux items and other items that you need, so you don't really need to I don't farm much in this game. Not on my main account. Like, anytime I farm, it's on my ult accounts, because I don't farm on them very often, and so when I need to do something on them, I'm like, oh god, I have to farm. But yeah, I don't really ever farm on my main. I do, like, you know, once every year or something. It's just not necessary. And because a lot of people like, well, if I don't farm, I have nothing else to do. But like, that's my point. If you can't farm, then you should be able to go fight bosses for fun. You should be able to go fight Zeus again, or fight Moriarty again, or fight Demeter, or Fluffy. You know, you should be able to go do that stuff for fun, which you can do in Arknights, which is nice. But yeah, FGO doesn't really give you that option. I really should show off his other Ascensions, but I really do like this one a lot more than the other ones. The second one just looks kind of weird to me. I don't mind the third one, I guess, but it's a little too... It reminds me of, what's that, that mech in 00 Season 2, Gundam 00 Season 2, the one that Graham pilots. It looks very similar to that thing. And it would not surprise me if it's a reference, considering how many Gundam references this guy has. Yeah, I think it's Bushido or something like that. Or Bushido or whatever the hell that thing's name is. But yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Alright, after Leo, maybe Alex, because... I mean, we could do this. For speed. I have him in second Ascension because it has purple. The purple actually is pretty cool. I think he pulls that off pretty well. I just don't like the ornament on the helmet. And here, let me, real quick, show off what I'm talking about. So, like, in stage 2 here, you know, like, his lower half is a lot skinnier, right? Like, this bit and, like, this bit, it's way... thinner, right? This is more like balanced, right? It's more chunky. But the thing is, not only is it like skinnier, but then like his shoulder pads are bigger, right? So it just looks kind of silly. This one is like a lot more like balanced size-wise, right? Where this one, it's just like big, small, you know, I'm not a big fan. And then the head ornament is just, I don't know, a little weird. I mean, I guess it's pretty extreme in all of them. It's like, you don't really see it so much on this, but you can see it here. It's like a plate, right? He's got like a plate right there. It's really hard to tell, but yeah, that I don't like that plate. That's very dorky. And then he just has like that huge shoulders, thin waist, and then like thin hips, but then really thick thighs, and then really small like was it calf, right? That's just weird, right? I don't like that kind of look. This one is also pretty balanced in terms of like the size, right? It's more like stage 1, but it's super weeby, right? It's like the most weeby out of the lot. And it's okay. I really like prefer this one's helmet. This looks a lot cooler to me. And I dig the white actually, but this is good. I mean, black and red always looks good together. I mean, who doesn't like that? But yeah, this is just weird. This just looks kind of weird to me. It's like mixture of chunky but then really skinny. I don't like that. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite. Unfortunately, you have to go into this stage every time you NP, but I'm glad, you know, these exist. And I will say the purple is pretty cool here. That like black-purple combo is pretty cool. And like the back piece is glowing purple and all that. Like that's nice. But yeah, I super like stage 1. Yeah, and the hair actually is pretty cool in stage 1. I think that works pretty well. Alright. Star Bomb. Golden Carp, there we go. And then I guess Alex if it comes down to that. This might be tough just because his AoE. AoE loses a lot of value. Although he gains value in that he's got a 5-turn sure hit, so that's kind of nice. Nope, I got 0 coups, so I really mean this. As much as I like this guy, and I really do like him and everything, my number one, you know, want from rolling was getting coup. Like, no question. That is absolutely what I want. And I didn't get a single copy of him. Like, that was the main reason I was willing to use that much SQ, because I was like, I just need a few more coups to get 120 for God's sakes, and I just cannot fucking get them. He is okay. The new Archer's cool and everything, but oh my god, he sucks compared to Fujino. Like obviously they're really different because AoE and single target, but he can be kind of single target because of his crits. Although he's nothing like Canis and Ibuki in that respect, but you know you can get some big crits out of him. But he pales in comparison to Fujino. She is so much tankier than him, and she has way better utility. Now again, in an AoE situation, they're still apples and oranges, but I got Lobo a lot. I got Lobo like 6 times, which was nice. I like Lobo, so I'll definitely level him. The only reason I've never leveled him is I've only ever had him NP1 on my various accounts. So this is my first account that got him at a high NP rank. Well, I mean NP5, so yeah, that I'm very happy about. But I want coup more than anything. Coup, I see people in our Discord like being all snide and acting like I'm playing it up, like how like, oh no, I didn't get coup, I don't care about the 5. No, I am not playing it up. Coup, like I don't think this is hard to understand. Coup is my favorite character in Fate, okay? I don't care that he's a 3-star, right? I don't suddenly like him less because he's a 3-star. And because Coup is my favorite character, and by a lot, the only, I mean, Gil's about tied, but like compared to everything but Gil, I mean, he blows everyone out of the water. Gil and Coup blow everyone out of the water, right? That's the way to look at it. Because I like him that much, I would much prefer to get Coup to 120 and all that kind of stuff, more so than getting a new unit that although I don't like as much as Coup, right? If I have to pick between like 120 Coup and, you know, X new 5-star or 4-star or whatever, I'm gonna pick Coup every time. I mean, every fucking time. Like, he's my favorite thing, right, in the game, so obviously that's what I want, and I just cannot get copies of him here recently to save my life, so it's been pretty painful. Yeah, I don't care what rarity is. He could be a 1-star, it wouldn't change. Alright, what shall we do? Trying to think if I want to do my third skill. I mean, just getting the sure hit right off the bat is fine. That's 20% right there. Put us at 70, and then I could second skill if need be. Although I could do this, and then I might be able to NP without my second skill. Yeah, I can do that. Which means I don't really need the sure hit. Let's see. So he is essentially at 80% right now, so the art chain will do it. But, I mean, what am I gonna do? Get Shin Gong start? I mean, yeah, fuck it, we'll get Shin Gong started in NP. Why not? I don't think we're ever gonna use his NP, but okay. The more you talk about Golden Sumo, the less coup he gets? No. You fools. You see, if you're going to be a coup guy, right? If you're going to grail your coup, chat. Now, you see, coup is good in a few circumstances, right? So he's really good. People say he's not, but it's bullshit. Coup is really good in team play. He's perfectly good as like a budget, nuker. You know, if you need a lancer to kill an archer or berserker, he's totally fine for that. He's actually better than. I mean, we're gonna use pyramid, right? I mean, pyramid's fine for it, but coup is just better. Right, so he's really good for that, for a budget unit. And then he's amazing as a last man standing. Once the rest of your team dies, right, and you get down to coup, Ku's really good there. And then obviously, Ku is really good at soloing, which is a lot like last man standing. Right? These are the, so he's kind of good in almost any challenge content like that. And the thing is, when you're playing him that way, like if it's team setting, right? So you start the game off, maybe a pawn's on the team, scatty, waver, whatever. You're probably going to NP, then you're going to work towards your next NP, so you're going to want to use his art card every time it comes up. So his NP's quick, right? But you're going to use his art card every time it's up, and he's got 2 buster cards, and he can get some solid normal card damage, so you're going to buster, right? So you don't just want quick up, because although you do his, quick stuff with his NP and everything, you're going to want to do the art, the buster, and that kind of thing. So attack up is really good. And when you're last man standing, you're going to extra attack every turn, right? So attack up is the only thing that affects the extra attack. And when you're soloing, obviously you're going to extra attack a lot. And when you're soloing, what you'll do is you'll quick, right, on your NP turn, and then you'll do like buster quick art, or buster art buster, or even art quick, right? Like, these are very common things to do on Ku. And so if you notice, chat, this is abnormally rewarding attack up, like he doesn't spam, he doesn't see red press red, he doesn't see green press green. My fucking monitor keeps fucking up. Anyway, so yeah, he mixes his cards up more than most units, and as such attack up is better. And because Ku doesn't have a battery, chat, oh no, Ku doesn't have a battery because he's so old school, chat. What's really nice on him, chat? Starting NP is really good on Ku. So if you're wanting to do Ku stuff, I would say more so than most units, you're gonna really want Golden Sumo. You might say it's a really good combo, those together. So yeah, that's actually quite. I'm trying to get my. There we go. I couldn't get my monitor to pick up my phone there. Yeah, no battery F tier. Oh my god, it closed all my... Okay, hold on. I'm seriously about to start streaming on emulator. I'm so sick of how many hoops I have to jump through and how buggy it is. And then every time it does this, it fucks everything up. And then I have to put in the stupid password every time, and it's just... I have lost my patience for this nonsense. The thing is, emulator sucks though. It's not just about it breaking terms of service. I mean, that's a big reason, but why is this just staying there? Anyway, emulator sucks. It doesn't run the game that well. Even if you have a great computer, there's like compatibility issues. It doesn't play sound effects. So often when there's like a new NP or whatever, the fucking sound effects don't, only half the sound effects for it play. So I don't like that, right? The sound effects are a big part of making a good video and shit like that, so I don't want to use emulator. But I don't know, it's such a pain. Okay, we got our NP. We will do this and this. I wish I had a little bit more stars, but this will have to do. Fortunately, the boss has his defense up, but I've got my defense removal, and I have sure hit, so that works out really well. I kind of want to taunt. No, I'll save the taunt for the NP, but I kind of wanted to taunt him to get NP and then heal him back, and then Han's NP, etc., etc. This ought to be pretty good. Please crit. You have so much, like, there you go. Man, there's a decent amount of games actually making PC ports these days, so maybe it'll happen. I don't think so though. I mean, they can't put out visual novels on PC, even though like the biggest market for visual novels is PC, so they're not putting FGO on there. And this is not like a hot take. Now some fucking like idiot teenagers think it's a hot take because we have no fucking life experience, but Japan is just in the dark ages when it comes to like understanding like the PC market and shit like this, and they just have this ridiculous idea that one pirate, like if you get a copy of a game pirated, like so they'll see like statistics on, oh my god, this game was pirated, you know, 200,000 times or whatever. And Japan's, and not just Japan, by the way, it's very, very prevalent in Japan. A lot of Japanese devs have said that this is the case. But devs around the world have this attitude to an extent. They think, and actually so do movies and TV shows, but they think one pirated, you know, video game or anime episode or Game of Thrones episode or whatever, they think one, you know, pirated download equals one lost sale, which anyone that knows anything about the industry will tell you that's not the case. A lot of people that are pirating stuff, they just look for what they can pirate, and if they can't pirate it, they don't go and buy it. They just pirate what they can pirate, and they're not looking to buy it legitimately in the first place. And also, a lot of people that pirate are young teenagers that literally do not have the money to buy the stuff legitimately, right? There's lots of teenagers that just don't have that kind of disposable income, and so they just pirate whatever they can get their hands on. So a lot of Japanese developers, though, and you can see this, BlazBlue did this back in the day when they started putting BlazBlue on PC, like when Central Fiction launched. At that point, they had already started to put all the BlazBlue games on PC, but they didn't put Central Fiction on PC right away. They waited quite a while. They put it out on console only until they thought they got all their sales out of it, and then now they're like, okay, so now if it gets pirated, it's okay. Then they put it out on PC. That's a very common attitude from Japan, or even more common is they just don't put games out on PC at all. And it's just the overly fear piracy, and it's really stupid, right? It's not a good business move, because what they're essentially doing is they're having a knee-jerk reaction to piracy, and they think, okay, so we just won't put it on PC at all, so all these pirates will have to go buy it on console. That's what they think, but that doesn't happen. What happens is you don't put it on PC, and now the entire PC market does not buy your video game, and they just go play something else. Right? Like, way to go. And most of those pirated, and the people that are really dedicated to piracy are going to pirate it anyway, right? You can pirate console games. It's not actually that hard to do. It's just most people don't care enough, because it's more complicated, but yeah, Japan is just in that mindset. That's why Type Moon just stopped putting stuff on PC, right? Because they used to put, you know, they used to do PC only, actually, at the very start of the company. But now they don't do PC at all, and it's just because they think it's piracy, and they think they're stopping it. It's like, oh, we'll just buy it on console instead. And it's just dumb, right? You miss out on so, like, yes, your game will be pirated more if it's on PC, but most of those pirated copies are people that were never going to buy your game in the first place. You know what else you'll get more of? You'll get more sales. And all data suggests this. Again, this is not a hot take, right? Almost any market analyst will tell you this. It's like, if you put your shit on PC, you get a lot more sales total. And it doesn't matter that you get more pirated copies, because the people that are going to buy it on console normally don't have a good PC anyway, and they're buying it on console because that's like the only way that they're going to play the game. So the game existing on PC does not really affect your console sales very much. Of course, there's some crossover. Most of what crossover is going to buy it legitimately on PC. So this, and Japan is just terrible about this. And again, North America does it too, but to a way less extent. They used to do it though, like, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. I remember like, yeah, about 15 years ago, I remember North America was very gun shy about PC. Like, when Steam started blowing up and all that, that started to get them to care about PC more. But like, as consoles were booming, most devs just did not want to be on PC, and they would just see these statistics like, oh man, these games get pirated like 100,000 copies and stuff, and they think that means, oh, I'm going to lose 100,000 sales, right? That's how they would see it, which is fucking stupid and childish. But as time has gone on, North America has caught on that, if we put it on PC, we just make more money. And like, yeah, there's pirated copies, but there's still just more sales. Like, way more people buy it legitimately. So over time, North America almost always put their stuff on PC now, but Japan is just way behind on that stuff. And it's gotten to the point where Type Moon isn't putting fucking visual novels on PC, which is like the overwhelming market majority for visual novels is PC. So it's so stupid. And I keep seeing people, I see this over and over and over and over, like people on Reddit and shit, they just eat it up. These companies will put out these PR statements, and people believe them. It's crazy. It's so weird to me. It's just, I guess, part of growing up. When I was young, like when I was a teenager and stuff, you know, I had to like learn about, you know, companies constantly lying to you, and that's a thing. Like, you learn that pretty quick if you actually pay attention to market and business stuff. Companies basically never tell the truth ever when it comes to like PR statements. And so they never tell the truth ever. I mean, ever, right? Like if they have like an issue where they like really fuck up or whatever, they will always put some ridiculous PR spin on it all the time. Doesn't matter if it's Coke, Walmart, video game companies. They will almost never tell you the truth if the truth makes them look bad, right? And literally anyone that works for a big corporation will attest to that. I've worked for big corporations where I was younger, and the same shit. I didn't work for video game companies, but it was the same thing. They would never put out statements that were truthful, ever. They would just try to take whatever the truth was and put it out in a way that would make it sound less bad. I mean, it's just so normal. It's actually like industry standard for companies to lie through their fucking teeth and PR statements and stuff. But like Type Moon put out that statement saying they didn't put it on PC because they thought the game needed to be played on the big screen. That's not the fucking reason, right? That is utter bullshit. Like, at no point did they have a conversation about that at Type Moon. They were talking about piracy and trying to force them to buy it on console and blah, 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 blah. And then after the fact, they're like, okay, now how can we sell this? Because no one's going to say that. Like, no developer is going to come out and say, oh yeah, we're not putting it on PC because we fear piracy. No company is ever going to say that, other than maybe indie devs. You know, they're going to be, okay, well, so that's what we're doing. Now, how can we say that and not say that? And they come up with other drivel. And again, that's super common. But for some reason, I've noticed this, and I guess it's just because, you know, Reddit and YouTube comments and shit are full of teenagers, and teenagers don't have enough life experience to notice this crap. But I keep seeing these huge companies put out these bullshit PR statements, and Reddit just like eats it up and acts like that's the truth, and they just like repeat it, and like that's the reason for these, you know, changes in the industry and stuff. And like, what on earth is wrong with you? It's like, that is blatantly not the reason. But yeah, go work for a company and you generally figure it out pretty quick. It's not even company stands, although those do exist. Those absolutely exist. I mean, even Blizzard has people that defend them to the death, right? Like fucking Blizzard has people that will shill for them. But a lot of it is people just being ignorant. I mean, just straight up, it's just people that, you know, haven't had reality bitch slap them hard enough yet, and they don't realize, like, how manipulative, you know, public statements and stuff are, right? They don't know the difference between Bob on Twitter and fucking, you know, video game developer, you know, marketing departments. Like, well, they said that's the reason, so that must be the reason, right? And that's so rare. I wish that wasn't the case, but honestly, I'd say it's more common to get bullshit from video game developers and other companies than it is for them to give you the truth. Unless the truth, you know, looks good for them, right? If the truth makes them look good, then they'll do it. So I should have done this attack up earlier. It's actually really bad that I didn't, because I had crit with it. I did a brave chain, got the extra attack. There was no better time to do the attack up. So I kind of screwed that one up. Guess we do that. And then I guess just Han's MP gain here. So I'm not pinging off the shield because I know he has sure hit. I'm actually doing this because it's more MP gain for Hans, for him to give himself the first card art bonus. That is so common. That sounds like a parody or like an exaggeration, like we investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong. But that's not even a parody. That happens all of the time. You see so many companies like do internal investigations and crap, dude, and then like nothing comes of it, right? It's all behind closed doors. And anyway, I'm not saying North America is great, but Japan is way worse about this. And so many like lower level employees have like talked about this and like just look at fighting games, right? Now, fighting games aren't like important to what I'm talking about, but they're a good example of like the archaic mindset that Japanese developers often have, especially the higher ups. Like only now, and even now it's still like not like the standard, but only now are Japanese devs like getting on board with like letting people know frame data. Now, if you know anything about fighting games, that's really important. Frame data is basically like, you know, how fast the move comes out, how long it's in hit stun, or how long it's in block stun, right? Information like that. How many invulnerability frames are on this move, right? Like that kind of stuff. And that stuff gets data mined no matter what anyway, and that's been the case for, I mean, since, you know, Street Fighter 2 or whatever the fuck. And so it's really standard that, you know, they just release that information, and it's useful for game balance anyway. There's no reason to obscure it, right? I mean, it's like, what the fuck? But like Japanese devs just do not fucking talk about that stuff, and they won't even call it frame data. Like if they put out patch notes for like buffing and nerfing, they'll come up with this weird like bullshit terminology to try to obfuscate what they're talking about. And devs from Japan have confirmed this, that it's like really taboo amongst like Japanese fighting game developers to like intentionally not give away frame data and other things like that. There's just a lot of like archaic bullshit with Japanese, you know, game developers. It's just dumb, right? It's just fucking stupid, right? And it's the same thing with like their views on PC and piracy and stuff. They're just really slow to get with the times. And like, I don't just mean with like what consumers like expect. I mean like slow with the times, just like understanding like market analysis and crap like that, right? They normally are screwing themselves over because like their policies and stuff are not particularly good. And yeah, Time Moon is a really good example of that. I wish that wasn't the case, but it absolutely is. Also, Lobo, could you stop spamming your defense buff, please? I mean, some devs in North America do have that weirdness as well, but it's way more prevalent in Japan. I mean, it is so much more prevalent in Japan. Like it's just like pride, right? Like anytime North America gives Japanese companies feedback, they don't want to take the feedback even if it's really good feedback. That is absolutely a thing, right? Where if like Japanese players give them feedback, they're more likely to listen to it, but they just get so pissed off when North America gives them like constructive criticism, right? It's very silly. Do I want to yeet Hans instead of Chen? I think yes, because we have his third skill now, and then Chen's going to get his Buster up, so... This is not going very well, but I really messed up by not using that attack up earlier. I think that absolutely would have translated to like 73k by now, because it would have hit the NP, it would have hit the Buster crit, the Arc crit, and the X crit attack. So, yeah, I would have already broken. EA has gotten better. Electronic Arts, they've gotten better in the last like 5 years. They're not good, right? They're not like awesome, but they are. Some of it is also everyone else got worse, right? Activision went insane. Ubisoft went insane. You know, a lot of big developers are just really scummy, and EA got maybe a tiny bit better. So in comparison, they look like saints, even though they're not really doing anything, all that special. I really wish I had not messed up earlier. I wish I had broken, because I could do so much damage to his next health bar right now if I had just done that attack up earlier. Or now I'm like whiffing a lot of value. Discord David, how are you doing? Like, what? I cannot tell you how often I see first time in chat messages and it's someone just being a fucking like twat. I did great. I have made so many mistakes here. But anyway, you know, look at a nice normal just hello, right? I can get behind that. Oh, the amount of time we have wasted, though. Now Chin might die. I think I need a taunt just so he doesn't. I'll do that. Now, something that's industry standard, be it North America, Europe, Japan, doesn't matter. Something that's become industry standard is rushing your game out, having it be in an incredibly unpolished state, releasing it, buggy mess, and then a year later you fix it. That is so normal these days, and I absolutely hate that. Alright, we will do this. Do I want to do the Buster Up nonsense when I don't even have a Buster card? Well, this Buster Up, yes, because it lingers. Gong's Buster Up. I think no. Yeah, I think we'll wait here. I should have put Gong in a different spot. If I wanted to, like, Gong Leonidas or whatever, he should have been in the back. I don't think I would Gong Leonidas, but I didn't even have the option. Yeah, Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is an extreme example, though. Now, that is industry standard, but they are at such an extreme level of it, right? Like, they weren't even slightly polished. Sadly, he is not in P5. I only had, like, 848. I think I had 848 SQ and 21 summon tickets. And I didn't use all of it. I used a lot of it, but I did not use all of it. Okay, I have Buster Quick on my next hand, I think. Actually, I may have already used that other Buster card. My deck shuffle may be fucked up. Yeah, I got him in V2, which I'm happy with. It's not like he's meta, or, I mean, literally anything anyway, so. I would have gotten in P3, but I got a Attila Spook. Actually got that in my first summon. Okay, there's that Buster card, but unfortunately I did not get my NP in time. Well, that did not work out very well. We're not doing very well, but we could have done a lot better if I had not made those mistakes. We'll probably still win, but it's very sloppy. Look at my amazing NP gain here. I don't know why I didn't put the Buster in third place. Like, not using that attack up earlier was such a mistake. Because you're just never gonna get... I mean, that second NP, if I had gotten... Because all I got was an art card, but if I had happened to get other cards there, that would have been a good time for it. Also, I held Gong's Buster up so long, he could have used it and had it back again. I mean... I actually suspect he will sell better than the waifu, because she is so unremarkable. She's just dime a dozen. I mean, people act like the guys don't sell well. I don't... Do people not actually look at the sales figures? I don't understand, because I do, and the guys sell ridiculously well a lot of the time. Like, of course, we've had a few that haven't, but you have a bunch of waifus that don't sell well. Canis sold like crap, right? Canis sold really bad. Galatea sold really bad. Karen sold really bad, right? There's plenty of waifus that do not sell well. Yeah, meanwhile, there's a lot of dudes that sell really, really well. Now, I don't think he's gonna sell, like, he's not gonna sell anything like Oberim or you know, Gilgamesh, or he's not gonna be that level, but he's probably gonna sell decently well just because he is unique. He's very unique, right? We don't get a lot of big boy Chads and like heavy armor and all that. That's not something we get much of. So I think he'll sell pretty well. Yeah, he's not going to beat Morgan, right? He's not going to sell that well, not even close. But I actually suspect he's going to do better than a lot of these, like, monster of the week waifus. Like, I don't know what else to call them. Like, they add a lot of waifus that are just forgotten about in a week, and no one cares. They don't actually sell that well. They really don't. Where when they add the guys, because they're so fucking rare, they generally sell better. Yeah, waifu of the week. So yeah, I would highly suspect he will sell better than her. Now, unfortunately, we're not gonna know because they're in the same month. So there's no way to know which one of them sells better, because the financial report is going to show them both together. So there's no way to know. But I would, from my knowledge of the industry and just the track record of this game, my guess would be he will bring in the lion's share of the profits this month compared to her. The only reason he wouldn't is if people broke the bank on her, and even though they want to roll on him, they can't. Right, that's the only way I would say he won't be the lion's share. Now, I'd also be willing to bet that this month won't make that much money. I think it'll do okay. It'll probably do better than Karen did, but I doubt this month is going to be that profitable for them. I mean, there's other doggos out there. Okay, let's do what we can here. Unfortunately, we don't have his first skill, but we do have crits. Still got sure hit. Although he gets pierce and vulnerability, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, his NP is going to get its damage in. And if you can actually get in his niche, that can be pretty powerful. His niche is water and lawful enemy. So if it's a single target situation, but those two things are present, he'll have essentially single target damage, and you get armor ignore, pierce and vulnerability, and sure hit. So you're absolutely getting your damage in, unless they have damage cut, I suppose. Alright. I guess I didn't really need to give him the defense removal command code because he does have armor ignore, although that's only on the NP turn. Apt to Zeet, indeed. I don't think we're gonna kill this turn, though. If I had my first skill up, we might. He has an anti-water niche, but I'm pretty sure he, like, destroyed some enemy foes when he did, like, some label combat or something like that. I know some of the battles he was in involved boats. I don't really know the details because I don't keep up with a lot of the Japanese stuff, but I know there's, like, boat-related nonsense with some of his battles, so I'd imagine that's why. I don't know if it's because, like, he, like, got on his boat and kicked their boat's ass, or if, like, he used cannons and blew up their boats, or I don't know exactly, but I know there's something to do with some boat combat in some of the battles he was in, so. We'll play the Garbo account again at some point. Just been kind of into other stuff, but it's not going anywhere. Really, I should play the garbage account in this event because it has rewards that would be useful for it. But the only reason I'm not playing the garbage account, like right now, I'm playing the Steno account instead, is because I really want to make a fluffy video on the Steno account and make like a free-to-play like commentary video like I did for Protea. And the Steno account is the only account that could do that. And the issue though is the Steno account is also my worst account by far, other than maybe the garbage account, but that doesn't count. And so it needs to prepare, right? That account is, it's garbage. There's no skill gems. It is just nothing. So if I want to use that account in a meaningful way for a budget setup, it needs to, do stuff. So once that's done, the garbage account will take the place of the Steno account. Because the Herc account beat Lost All 6 and everything, so, I can put it on the back burner for quite a while, I would say. I don't know if that was actually a good turn to do. So I could have won by now. If we could have won by about turn 12, I think, if I didn't make those mistakes earlier. Maybe turn 11. Maybe turn 11. But I think turn 12 or so, turn 12 or 13 is about what we could have done if I didn't make any mistakes. And honestly, for NP2 AoE, and we don't have water, we don't have lawful, because Lobo is not lawful, surprise, surprise. That's not too bad of a performance, actually. Now, this 15 is kind of bad, but that's more of, like, again, my mistakes and whatnot. I'm trying to think, where can we even get his niche? CCC's water side, so that's a thing. We would need, like, a lawful Berserker or Saber, but we could, honestly, the CCC fights are a bit easier, so it's probably better that we fight them at class and neutral to kind of mimic a boss that's tougher. Let me think. Who? Cleo is lawful? Okay, that's a tough one too. Cleo's like the hardest one of that lot, I would say. So yeah, we'll do that. That's a good one. Because we'll get our niche. Okay, we'll do that, and then we'll actually play the event. We need to actually get in there and play the event. There's some interesting enemies we can fight and whatnot, so. India should be true neutral, I would think. George is probably lawful. That's another tough one. Not as tough as Cleo, though. Cleo is the hardest one, I would say, because she has invulnerability as a gimmick, and then she can cast invulnerability. She gets her NP in 3 ticks, and she's AoE, where like George is single target, so you could just taunt it and stuff like that. Like George, especially if you don't have command codes and whatnot to get rid of his defense buff, he is really tanky. But yeah, Cleo is really tough. Yeah, obviously this guy is good for Cleo though, because yeah, he has armor ignore and pierce vulnerability. But I'm talking in general, right? Like for most units, and especially when CCC came out, because you didn't have command codes to remove the defense buffs. Oh yeah, and she has a higher crit chance. Like she is definitely the only other one of like the default lot that I would say kind of can make a problem would be Tesla. Because Tesla also NPs in 3 ticks, and then he quick charges often, so he can just NP at an unexpected turn, and he gets pierced invulnerability for 3 turns automatically when you break his bar. So it's just really easy to break his bar and then get NP'd in the face, and he has pierced invulnerability, and everyone dies. Right? Don't lie to me. I know that happened to some people back in the day when they did that. Like, not the interlude version, but they did like the original CCC. They had no idea what Tesla was going to do. They went in there with, you know, a good team, but like, you know, whatever, and then they just got NP'd and everyone died. You know, I bet you someone brought Merlin, they brought their friends Merlin, right? And then they just got pierced and vulnerability on, and it didn't matter. That has definitely happened to somebody. Alright, we do not need... I need to summon something... Fuck, I hate that. You know what, there we go. We'll go with... Grailed Hans, I'm okay with this. I'm actually pretty excited to see what he does in his niche here. I've not done anything with that in particular. Look at this cool guy though, chat. What I need to get his skills up. It's just he's in P1, and then my friends have him at 10-10-10, and then his mats are so bad that I don't want to deal with that. But I do like Carnell enough that it needs to happen at some point. And this is another one that needs to... I'm just waiting for her to be in P2. I will actually get that done as soon as she's in P2, but that might take a while. But I have a bunch of friends with like Grailed Karnas and all that. I don't have a lot of friends that have upgraded Virtuas. I think I have 1. Do we stick with Qingong? I think so. He's pretty great. That is not Qingong. Alright, boss has AoE NP, and we just have guts. So... we'll do that. I might grail her eventually, but there's a lot of other stuff in front of her. Like, there's a lot. Like, I mean, Beowulf even, I would like to get to 100. But she is really cool. She also did not sell particularly well, but what are you gonna do? Speaking of waifus not selling well. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy just how much people just have it in their brain that waifus sell, guys don't sell, that's why they don't add guys, when the data just doesn't exist. Like, and I swear, I really feel like this is why. When people hear things repeated enough by enough different people, they just assume it's true. Right? It's like, oh, that many people wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. So people keep hearing people say that waifus sell and the guys don't, and they just keep hearing that, but they don't realize half the people saying that are just saying it because they heard other people saying it. When you actually look at the sales data, that's just not, you know, it's just not true. And like, yeah, sometimes the guys don't sell well, but also a lot of the time the waifus don't sell well. You know, they don't have breakout months that often, actually. But, you know, there obviously are some waifus that sell like you wouldn't believe, right? You know, Morgan and stuff like that. There's some, you know, really big selling waifus, of course. But yeah, Edmund has sold well, Gil has sold well, Ivan sold well, Achilles has sold decently well. His data is hard to get though because he's normally in like months that are tied to other units. You know, Oberyn sold ridiculously well, to my dismay, but he sold ridiculously well. The only one that I can think of that actually did not do well was Romulus. Romulus did not do very well. But Muramasa did pretty well. He didn't do as well as I thought he would, though, to be honest. I mean, Muramasa did better than a lot of the waifus, but nothing too spectacular. He was kind of just, you know, he did good, right? He did good, but it wasn't like you know, it wasn't like Merlin's second rate up. Merlin's second rate up made more money than the first one because people realized how like meta he was. Meta doesn't always sell big though. Like meta, if they're super meta, they're not going to sell bad, like ever, right? Like if they're super meta, the whales are going to get them. But some of the biggest sellers have not been like super meta. Now, the thing is, the devs have caught on. I think they have a pretty good idea of when a unit is going to be popular, especially if they get a lot of screen time in the story, right? And then they make sure they're at least somewhat meta or like the new meta, right? Like they knew Oberyn and Veach and all that were going to be really good, and they did that on purpose. They did not want them. And look what I don't think they hit the nail on the head, but they were blatantly trying to make Muramasa meta. They blatantly were trying to do that. I mean, look at his fucking kit. He came out during the pinnacle of Castoria's meta, and look what he is. He's an art AoE looper with a big battery, and he's just designed to be able to loop really easily, right? They did that for a reason, right? He shouldn't even be art, right? If you look at the lore on his NP, he should be single target buster, and they literally like contrived the reason to make him AoE art, right? That was intentional, like abso-fucking-lutely. I'm pretty sure Moriarty sold decently well, anyway, though. And we never really got good sales data on Gil because I've seen people say like Gil doesn't sell well, but that's nonsense. Most of his banners are kind of medium, but you're never gonna, if Gil had not been added until like, let's say Lost Belt 3, so this whole game and there was no Gilgamesh, and then in Lost Belt 3, boom, they added Gilgamesh, he would have sold like crazy. But the reason Gil never had like that one breakout huge big seller banner is because when he was first added, it was like, you know, a month into the game and he was added. FGO was really unpopular a month into the game. That's just a fact. That is a hard fact. FGO was not a popular game that early on. It was kind of shit on. And also the market wasn't as big. Never mind if the game was well received or not. The mobile game market was just smaller back then. Now, for the time, for how small FGO was at the time, Gil sold, you know, amazingly well, right? But the player base was just really small. But here's the thing. Even though the player base was small, a chunk of their hardcore player base now has Gilgamesh, right? And so the next time it gets rated up, now even by Gil's second banner, the game still wasn't at its peak, not even close. But it was a bit bigger, right? The game had definitely grown by his second banner. And then again, it sold well. It made plenty of money from it. And for its time, right? FGO didn't make that much money back then, but for the time, him and Jolter were like the big sellers. You know, he sold fine. And by that second banner, now a lot of the player base has Gilgamesh, right? And then by like his third or fourth banner, now the player base is at like peak, but you know, a lot of people already have Gilgamesh. Now he still sold fine because there's still a lot of new players and Gil's really popular. So if you add up all of Gil's banners, overall, he has sold like crazy, but in no single banner did he ever, you know, get like super big money. And same for Jolter, same thing, right? Because when she was first added, the player base wasn't as big. So her sales are spread out over a lot of different banners. And there's a lot of the older units are like that. So people point to like Morgan, like, oh, look, Morgan's more popular than Jolter. That's not really true though, because, you know, again, Jolter's banners are so spread out and when the player bases were at, you know, different sizes and stuff. Now, obviously, Morgan is really fucking popular, of course, but again, if Jolter had not been added until like Lost Belt 7, right, and then she gets added, it gets lots of screen time, blah 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 blah. I mean, her sales would have just been insane, right? It's just when they're spread out like that, it warps the data. And same for Edmund, same shit for Edmund. But yeah, when you really get down and think about it and add up the different banners and stuff, Edmund, Gilgamesh, they make a lot of fucking money. So like, there's just and Edmund wasn't meta back then. Like he's kind of meta now, although less so than before, I guess. He's kind of up and down on the meta chart. But a lot of Edmund's sales were way before he was meta. He actually wasn't very good back in the day. He was actually considered kind of shit. All right, so don't want to bring like a DPS caster. I'm already counterclassing, which I feel kind of bad about, but there's really no way to support a unit without casters. So, do that and then Shakespeare. Alright, that's pretty good. That's a nice, reasonable Buster budget setup, I would say. Oh, these fireworks are getting annoying. I might have to end the stream early. Now, I'm not gonna do it like right now or anything, but the fireworks are probably gonna get really obnoxious as the night goes on. So, honestly, if I had thought about that, I just forgot that it was July 4th. I would have just worked on a video. I would have worked on a video for the new guy and done that and then streamed later. But tomorrow is going to be ridiculous. People, even on July 5th, or the night of July 4th or whatever, they still do it, so it's going to be really annoying. And Carps, thank you for the 17-month sub, dude. I appreciate that. Alright, let's not put Shinigong in the front. That doesn't make any sense. We'll go Sakura Scope if I can find it. Actually leveled it a bit today because I was tired of not finding it. So I leveled it up just so it was easier to see it. So I use it a good bit. A lot of support units want the health, and the cheaper team cost is good. Alright, this is more bursty, so I'm gonna go with that. I think that's fine. Although maybe it's not more bursty, actually. Because we are neutral. So I have no problem with people that are proud of their country or whatever, in America's case, independence and all that. That's fine, right? I have no issue with anybody that wants to just, have a holiday for their country, that whatever. But can we not make it really loud and obnoxious? Like, did we have to do that over here? Okay, what about Aussie? I don't know why the bit sounds aren't playing. I'm looking at the stuff and it should be, so I'm not sure what's broken. I always like, though, how people stereotype America like my chat is doing right now, but when you actually go outside and talk to Americans, it's not really like that at all. I've experienced that so much throughout my life. I remember when my father ran a martial arts school and a mixed martial arts school as well, and we traveled around for like fights for like the fighters he would train, and I went to different cities and stuff. And you just meet people and talk to people, right? And some of my jobs I've had, I've talked to a lot of people. But a lot of like these ridiculous stereotypes, they exist. Like stereotypes exist for a reason, right? Like of course those people exist, but they're pretty fucking rare. Like for real. Like when you actually just talk to people, they don't act that way, right? Like they're not like, yeah, cheeseburgers and shotguns, right? Like almost no one is actually like that, right? I mean, there's certain areas in the world that are gonna be more like that. But it just kind of annoys me that like America is like so stereotyped like that, and that's true for all countries. All countries have stereotypes, and in good faith, it's fine. But I feel like America gets like extra shit on by the world these days, and I'm like, you guys, especially Europeans. When I see Europeans talking about Americans, I'm just like, you've never actually talked to an American, have you? It's like it's just really fucking obvious. when you see like Europeans like circle jerking, making fun of America, I'm just like, okay. And I, you know, Americans do it sometimes too, where Americans are making fun of, you know, France or something. But I always just find that kind of annoying because again, it gets repeated so much that people just start like accepting it as truth. And I'm just like, have any of you all actually talked to like anyone in your life? It's just like, what the fuck? I mean, a lot of people online have a superiority complex. I'm just gonna be honest, right? Europeans, Americans, Canadians, Japanese, doesn't matter. Like, a lot of people online have superiority complexes, and they look for a reason to shit on, you know, any group they see as other. It gets very silly. You know, I don't mind it. Like I said, when it's just joking in good faith, I don't really mind. But what I see is like, it becomes so prevalent online that that's literally the only thing people talk about in those circles, right? You don't, it's kind of like the NTR jokes around Lancelot. He doesn't have a character anymore, right? Like, he literally doesn't have a fucking character anymore other than NTR jokes, which is not what the character is about at all. And like, they're completely missing the whole fucking point of the story, both in Fate and in real life. And it's just kind of silly. And it just gets to the point that anytime people talk about Lancelot, it's just NTR jokes. And this happens to a lot of Fate characters, right? And it's kind of the same thing when I see a lot of like, you know, stupid joking about America or Europe or whatever, right? It just kind of, it's like, okay, guys. But yeah, Lancelot is probably the worst victim of that in FGO that I can think of. There are a few other ones, though, that get memed on 24/7. Okay. Not a great opening hand, but he's got a toolkit that makes it pretty easy to get the ball rolling, I would say. No reason to NP with Hans yet. We are all burned. I could get rid of that with guts, but that's not worth the effort. Alright, so we're at 80%. I need 20. Or 19. Which we should get right here. Actually, I need 9. Because of the command code, I only need 9 NP. And I get 2 off of the Buster. So, like, if his quick can't do this, I'm gonna be a bit pissed. Cleo, you wanna help me out? Yeah, there you go. Imagine if she crit there. I'm all like, yeah, she hit me, and then we get obliterated. Speaking of crits. That was a quick crit though, not too bad. Alright. Do I fire every... I don't think I use that one, but I do use these. 188, and we get our niches, so... Let's... do that.
いい時代だ。資料集めにはことかかん。損なう鳥に思い出す。メルヘンマイネスレーベンス。
And I used 21 summon tickets and like 700 SQ. So not too bad. Not the best, obviously, but I won't complain. Okay, not quite as much damage as I was hoping for there. I mean, that was, for being class neutral in AoE, actually that's pretty good. Because if it was, like, we were actually fighting a Saber or a Berserker, that'd be what, 220? That's pretty good for AoE. But, I was hoping we'd actually break there, but I could have done the Buster up. I think we can get it right here, though. I would love to get my NP, because then I can pierce invulnerability. When you break her bar, she automatically gets a stack of invulnerability. So, if I can get pierce, okay, this is pretty good, actually. I'm gonna make a video for him. Like, an experience video or some shit. I should incorporate this fight into it. Yeah, unfortunately, no matter what stage he's in, he just magically transforms into stage 3. That's really my only complaint that I have. Other than, like, his gameplay's a little weak. I don't know if weak is the right way of putting it. A little unimpressive in most circumstances. Good with Veach and Oberyn, but everybody is. But his gameplay could be maybe a little bit better, but that's not a big deal. That's really not a big deal. I'd rather a unit be a little too weak than a little too good. I very much stand by that. But yeah, I don't like the way he always goes to stage 3 just so they don't have to animate his cut-in for the other ascensions. I think that sucks. Okay, this is so nice that I get Pierce Invulnerability because he keeps the Pierce Invulnerability for his normal attacks after the NP. So this is fantastic. I'm gonna taunt somebody so I don't get like NP'd, lose guts, and then attacked after. I don't want that to happen. I like to crit down anyway. I don't need the stars. This is actually... This is a really good performance right here for class neutral, but it's because he's in his niche. Like, in his niche, he's pretty damn good. Again, you could be in your niche and actually fighting multiple opponents, too. And then he's great, right? If you fight a challenge quest where it's water side, and there's not every enemy needs to be lawful, but some of the key enemies are lawful, right? And it's one of those challenge quests, you fight like 6 bosses or whatever. He's gonna do fantastic, but like really, if you're oh shit, is he gonna kill her? If I had an extra attack up, he might, but I don't think so. Yeah, not quite. But if you're using like Veach, Merlin, Oberon, even just Waver and shit like that, and you're using him against a challenge quest where you fight 6 bosses, 9 bosses, 8 bosses, whatever, and there's some lawfuls in there, and it's on Seaside. He is going to be really good, right? In that context, he is going to be excellent because with like the right supports, he can NP very often, and then his NP is going to be doing really big damage. And a lot of like for real, when you do challenge quests against like 6 bosses, right, or 7 bosses, whatever, you know the type, you know Lost Belt or Summer 3, right, the Maze event, challenge quests like that. Almost without fail, because there's so many bosses on the field and they each have their own gimmicks. Somebody's got invulnerability, somebody's got defense up, somebody's got evade, right? They're always, and he has sure hit, pierce invulnerability, armor ignore, right? So he getting his damage in, and that's going to be good, right? He'll fucking kick ass in those situations. Speaking of defense up, all right, let's see. We can kill her anyway because we've got defense removal, and. Even if I didn't, I could guts again. And by the way, if this guts went off, I would actually get our bonus effect again. But he'll kill. I'm ready to zeet the app. Yeah, Hans lived because he is cheating. I mean, because he is a caster, and I think he had a defense buff or something. But if we didn't have these command codes, we probably wouldn't kill her here. I mean, we might. Let me see. Probably not. We don't get our lawful bonus for this. We don't have her crit up anymore. Yeah, I don't think we'd kill her without the command codes. Just to show it, like the smart thing to do is this first to get rid of the defense buff. But we can kind of get an idea of how much damage you would do without the command codes. Because when this boss released, you didn't have these command codes. But so we'll do this one first just to see what the damage is like, and we can kind of see if that'd be enough to kill her or not. We might just, because I don't think her skill is rank 10. I think it's rank 8. And for one defense up, that's not that big of a downgrade, but you're applying that downgrade twice. So we might still do enough. It'd be close. And he'll kill now, because now the defense buff is gone, so now she's super fucked. But he might have barely gotten it. That'd be really, really tight. Oh, she got 3k heals. She was rank 10. That's surprising. I know sometimes they're rank 10, but a lot of times they're rank 8. That's very common for AI. But I guess it's because these wanted quests, they wanted to be a little bit harder. Like, if you just kind of compare them to, like, the kind of side bosses they would add back then, years ago, you could kind of just tell they did that. Like, Siegfried actually has his skill upgrade. And that's so rare. They almost never do that. Even in the modern day, they don't really do that with FGO much. Yeah, he's awesome. I think he's so cool. I love his sound effects. I love his voice actor. All that kind of stuff. And I kind of like that he's not meta, actually, because meta stuff can be pretty boring. But I do wish he was a bit more unique, I guess. But yeah, my only real complaint is the way they did the NP. That's it. Okay, let's switch over to the Steno account, which I actually had in the title, but we weren't actually playing there for a minute. There we go. Hold up, gotta switch my monitor over so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. Alright, let's catch up on the event. I played a chunk off stream, but like I don't have that many points, so we have a ways to go. But that's okay. It's really sad though that we won't. The sales data information that we'll get is gonna conflate his sales with whatever her name is. Because I really do think he's gonna outsell her, and I think so many people like on Reddit and whatnot will think she'll sell better because she has tits, but I really think he's gonna sell better than her. Because again, lots of dudes sell better than the waifus, and she's so nothing, right? Like she's just a generic flavor of the week, you know, waifu. And because he's really unique, I think he's gonna outsell her. But we'll probably never know. Because we'll get the sales data, right? We'll see how much money they made this month, but they're in the same month, so there's just no way to tell. And generally speaking, the devs won't say. The only way we would find out is if one of them was incredibly popular. Because if one of them was incredibly popular, they might pop up in like what unit was grailed the most this year, right? Now, something that people always overlook when they do release those stats is those don't, you know, cover units that were grailed a long time ago, right? They're not in competition with, because a lot of people's favorites are already level 100, right? So just because like X unit is the most popular that year doesn't mean it's actually more popular than things from the past. That's actually why Gilgamesh is scary as fuck, because Gilgamesh has been in the game forever, and most people, like, well, not maybe most people, but a lot of people already have Gilgamesh from back in the day, right? And Gilgamesh still pops in to those record things that they do for only that year. Like, he still pops in with, like, most grailed, most 2K voting shit. That is, I don't think people realize how busted that is, right? Because that actually means he is more popular than the other things on those lists. Because, again, a lot of the people that were going to 2K foe him did it a long time ago, or grailed him did it a long time ago. Like, I truly don't think people get it. Like, you see those stats, and you see Gilgamesh in, like, 4th place or 5th place, and they're like, oh yeah, that's impressive, but, you know, not as good as who's in 2nd and 1st place. But they don't realize that person in 2nd and 1st place almost always came out that year, and so it's bottlenecked the people that are going to grail them and 2K foe them, etc., etc. So I even with Gilgamesh obviously being popular, I actually don't know how he keeps popping into those lists. Like, I actually don't get it, right? Like, that's ridiculous. And I know when they do, like, general polls, Gil is always, like, you know, top 5, like, ever, which is nuts. So I get that, but still, it's really weird that he pops up that fucking often. So Gil can't be an alter, so now they'll find a reason to make different versions of him, like with Caster Gil, but Gilgamesh cannot be altered. Now, Joan of Arc can't be either, but they made a Joan of Arc alter anyway, and they were just like, oh, it's not actually Joan of Arc. Because it's hard canon that Joan of Arc and Gilgamesh cannot be altered. And they didn't change that with Jolter. Jolter did not, like, you know, break the canon or, you know, retcon. They were just like, oh yeah, Jolter's not actually Joan of Arc, guys. It's a new existence that just is, like, you know, modeled after her. So that's the whole reason they did that. But yeah, Gil not only can't be altered, he cannot be controlled, like, in any way. And it's not because he, like, okay, Kojiro has a skill. It's not the same as, like, Gilgamesh's, and it's definitely not as good, because I'm sure Kojiro could be altered. But Kojiro has a skill, right, from all his martial arts training, where he can't be feared or charmed, and like, a couple of other things, right? He's, like, super determined to, like, you know, fight. But, you know, there are things that can trump it, like the Grail, right, and shit like that. Gil and Joan of Arc are quite unique in that even the fucking Grail can't, like, brain control them, right? And the reason Gil is like that, he has no skill, it's not a Noble Phantasm, although I'm sure he has a Noble Phantasm that, you know, would give him some abilities in that field. But the reason he can't be controlled by the Grail and charm and all these other things is because he is so egotistical. Like, he's just so fucking egotistical that he just cannot, you know, be, like, controlled by the Grail or whatnot. He just won't allow himself to, like, be manipulated that way because he's just so egotistical. And that's the only... And I believe it, right? Like, he is so egotistical, that makes sense. But it's just funny that most people, they'll have like manipulation skills, but it doesn't work on the Grail. The Grail like trumps them, right? So like a lot of, and they have it because of something they did in their legend or some like class ability or whatever, and so like they earn it that way. But then it gets overridden by the Grail or, you know, stuff like that. But then Gil doesn't get overridden by the Grail, and he doesn't even have a skill, right? He's just his personality is that ridiculous. And then Joan of Arc, it's like she has so much faith in God and is like so pure or something like that. She can't be corrupted. I don't remember the extent of it. I know like Grail Mud doesn't work on her like at all. It does nothing to her. I don't think it even phases her. But I don't remember like how it works with like charm and fear and all that. I don't remember. And they may not have even said. Alright, let's get to the story here, though, which I don't think you get to use any of your units for, or at least not often. It's a whole lot of preset teams. Oh, the Korean server. That's a, fun. Is that Atalante's NP or something? Or is that, like, incoming and she NPs it? How does Galahad alter even work? For some reason, Galahad can be altered. It's just that simple. I don't think they made up any weird lore for it, which I don't understand. If I really stand by this, if Joan of Arc, as they have said and stuck to, right? They stuck to their guns. Joan of Arc cannot be altered, right? Because Jalter is something, you know, unique, and it's not actually Joan of Arc, right? So they stuck to their guns. Then if that's true, then Galahad should not be alterable either. But for some reason, he is. Yeah, and I would agree Percival too. Percival's not as famous for being like ultra pure and like steadfast and all that, but it is in his stories as well, and he could also get the Grail. So yeah, I think Percival and Galahad should not be alterable, and then Gil as well. But Gil's is like is different, and Gil's really is different. He can be influenced like by the Grail Mud and things like that a bit. It won't control him. It won't dictate what he does. But it does, like, the Grail Mud does, like, warp him a little bit. It makes him a little crazy. It makes him a little unhinged. Right? It doesn't influence him. It doesn't tell him what to do. It doesn't do any of that. And it doesn't make him, like, you know, totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But it does have a effect on him, right? Where it has, as far as I'm aware, it has none on Joan of Arc. And I would say it should have none on Galahad. I think it is one of the dumbest things that Galahad can be altered. I'm not even a huge fan of Galahad, but, like... his legend is his legend, man. It's like, it is what it is. And, you know, he found the real Holy Grail, not the fake-ass one. And he's also, like, the purest knight that ever was. He was, like, basically created to be the, like, how do you put it? Like, the archetype of the pure Christian knight, right? He's supposed to be the role model to, like, aspire to. That's what his character was, like, made for. And so, you know, and again, with him being pure enough to actually obtain the Grail and everything, it just completely altered. I don't think they even thought about it, to be honest. I think the writer for Fate Requiem was just like, oh, this would be cool. And I think it was more of an excuse to get to use Galahad without stepping on FGO's toes. Like, I don't think they thought about it at all. They were just like, okay, I want to use Galahad, but, right, if we use regular Galahad, then we'd have to, like, set things in stone that could fuck up FGO. Nasu's not gonna let me do that, so we'll, you know, but he'll let me do this, so we'll do Galahad. That's why. I mean, 100% I think that's why. Like, I mean, Fate does that all the time. Like, they did, what's his name? Kingu. They did Kingu instead of Enkidu and FGO, not to step on Fate Strange Fake's toes, right? That's just, it's a common thing they do in FGO, and stuff surrounding it, so. But yeah, it kind of sucks, makes no sense. And here's the thing, I don't really have a problem with like the character archetype they went with for Galahad Alter if they want to make that a character, that's fine. But it doesn't need to be Galahad, because it has nothing to do with Galahad, and making him alterable is just weird. And there's all kinds of other knights they could have used instead to have that personality, so I think it was pretty silly.
標的を確認した。仕留める。
So I think the reason they never added adult Medusa Lancer is because... Hey, Thino, dude, thank you for the raid, man, I appreciate it. But I think the reason that they never added Medusa Adult is just because it was too similar in their minds to the Lolly version. They'd already added, you know, Medusa as a Lancer as they see it, right? And adult Medusa is just like, oh, it's just Medusa but an adult, right? But we already have, and a Lancer, but we already have a Medusa Lancer. And people will say, oh, but, you know, they added Artoria, Artoria Lily, Artoria Alter, and all of these are sabers, but those were already, like, hard canon before FGO and very popular. Like, I'm telling you, man, I really think this. If they had not created Saber Lily before FGO and they created her for FGO, she would have just been Castor Artoria. They would just made a reason to make her a different class. FGO is all about that. They all about, if we're going to make an alternate version of a character, let's contrive an excuse to make them look really different and to make them a different class, right? Where in the olden days, right before FGO, they didn't really do that, right? They were like, because the different classes, like for the same character, weren't supposed to be that different, because it's the same legend. When they're in their prime, shouldn't change, etc., etc. But yeah, it's because of marketability and sales and diversity, blah 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 blah, which I don't really like, because that's none of those things I just said are artistic. You know, there's no artistic integrity there, but. You know, people like their variety, and that's okay to an extent. But I do think sometimes, like they jump through hoops to make a character really different just for the sake of being different, not because it makes any sense. And I think when you do that too often, it gets kind of stupid. But yeah, I don't think we're ever getting Medusa Adult Lancer just because of the Lolly one we already have. I think the only chance she has, I think this is the only chance, is if they ever like do a Fuyuki like remix, right, where they like touch up the Fuyuki singularity and they try to, like, you know, bring in new players and stuff, and they make it like more up to date. And if they do that, they're obviously gonna model it after the movie to an extent, and they might use her there. But they also might just be lazy and use Shadow Rider. Like, they might use Shadow Rider Medusa, but make her a Lancer, like how they did fucking Vlad so dirty in the APOC event, right? They just used Berserker Vlad, but just made him a Lancer class, and they just said that's Lancer Vlad from APOC. But then outside of that event, he's just back to being Berserker Vlad all the time, right? They didn't want to actually add Lancer Vlad into the game, right? So she might just get that treatment. But I think there's a chance that they might, you know, spruce up Fuyuki, and they might add you know, alter Emiya like as a costume or something, and Medusa Adult Lancer and that kind of thing. That'd be cool, but I wouldn't hold my breath, I'll put it that way. Okay, if I remember correctly, you need to actually be somewhat careful in these stages, even though they're preset teams, you can lose. So let me turn my sound down a little bit. I don't remember them using Arthur as Uther. I think he was just like a generic guardian off memory. I kind of forget though. I know it was like stuff they had left there to guard MASH, and I forget like exactly how that story played out. Alright, so that guy's the problem. Probably should kill a Berserker though. Throw that out early. Actually, I'm gonna throw that out early too.
Yes.
Yeah, another Rider Medusa animation update would be nice. She had a really old one. I mean, it's aged okay. Certainly better than... I mean, seriously, no one could look at Rider Medusa and then next to her, look at like Mozart, Shakespeare, Mata Hari, Leonidas, Darius, you know, the list goes on, David, etc., etc. You cannot, with a straight face, be like, oh yeah, no, Medusa needs the animation update more than them, right? Like, no one will actually think that. Like, she clearly has a significantly better sprite and animations than they do. Now, sure, it could certainly use a touch-up. Same for Ku and Emiya and that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's be honest. Matahari, Shakespeare, Mozart, all that stuff needs to be top priority. I mean, they're garbage. They look like absolute garbage. And we're 7 years in. I think that's pretty silly. Alright, we shall arc chain, I suppose. We're gonna barely do any damage to this Lancer, but... Medea's has, I would say, aged the best. So, Emiya's, Ku's, Medusa's, and Medea's were all around the same time and are all quite old. They're some of the earlier animation updates that they did. And of that lot, I would say Medea's is the best by quite a bit. And I actually think Ku's is pretty bad. I think Ku's sprite is fine. Like, his character model looks well enough. Like, obviously it's not as good as, like, Chiron here or Gilgamesh's animation update, but it's okay. And they actually did decent work on, like, actually drawing his different body parts. Like, they almost never do this, but they actually draw his legs from the back perspective. They almost never do that, right? And it limits their ability to, like, manipulate the character, and they're always from, like, the side and stuff. But Ku is one of the few units that they drew his legs from the back, so they could, like, manipulate his model more than most. But they didn't do anything with it. Like, his attack animations are pretty bad, and they don't even, like, reference his actual fighting style from, like, the visual novel or anything, right? He's supposed to be very swift and rapid, like, strikes, you know, like fast pokes and that kind of thing. They didn't do any of that. Like his, like, signature, like, spammy, like, thrust thing, they didn't even do that. They did it, though, for the trash mob in Lost Belt 6.5, so that's a thing. But yeah, Ku's attack animations are pretty garbage, but his sprite is fine. Where, like, some of the other sprites aren't as good, and their attack animations are maybe a little bit better than Ku's, but they're not anything to write home about. I guess we do our single target one here, because the Lancer is obviously the nastiest enemy we're gonna have to deal with. Do I just do one, or do I do them both? 53k, we probably are gonna need both. Let's do it like that. Yeah, I thought Leo would get an animation update at least around the Babylonia anime, but I mean, it's been over 2 years, man. I really dislike how they've scuffed Leonidas, because he's pretty popular, he's pretty good from, he's not as, like, he's not a huge slow star staple, like, he's not like George or Hans, or David, Ku, Qingong, but he's right below that, right? You still use him quite a bit, he's very good. And so the fact that he's just so, I mean, his NP animation is his skill animation. Like, are you kidding me? The thing is, hit count doesn't matter. Caesar has a 2-hit quick and he does a rapid attack. Like, that, it's just, like, literally, Caesar essentially does what Ku is supposed to do. Like, Caesar has a quick animation where he does, like, really fast, spam, and the hit count just doesn't match it. They do that all the time. What's her name? Mev is like that. Mev has a hit count that doesn't match. I think it's like her slap one that used to be her extra attack, but they made it not the extra attack anymore. But they wanted it to still be a bunch of slaps, but she doesn't have the hit count to support it, so the hit count just doesn't match. They do that all the time. Like Hanzi is another one. Hanzi's art attack, it hits 3 times, but it's only a 1-hit. So that means nothing. They can do whatever they want animation-wise. I mean, actually, they only tried along, like, at the very beginning. Pretty early on, they would sneak stuff in where, like, the hit counts weren't matched. They've done that for a long time. They do it, like, all the time now. Like, they do it often now, but they had always done that kind of stuff. And even early on, they'd kind of do the opposite sometimes, where a person would have a high hit count, but they'd actually only hit 1 time, and the hit would happen a bunch. And, like, Masashi, because her hit count can change, the hit count, the hits don't make any fucking sense. Like, her busters and stuff all hit the same number of times, no matter if she has the skill up or not, but just more numbers appear, right? And they made the animation kind of vague. So, yeah, they've kind of always been kind of bullshit with that kind of thing. Now, how I see it is some of these old units, it would, now not all of them, but some of the old units, they could just give them give them more hit count and it wouldn't be a big deal. Like you could give Ku a 3-hit quick and I think that'd be alright. Even though Ku is an insanely good low star, that wouldn't affect him very much. He would have a very minor impact on his star gen. And Ku making more stars is not a big deal and it wouldn't be that big of an NP gain for him. Now, obviously Ku is the best budget Lancer, so if you're going to do that, you need to absolutely buff Deer Mid and Taiga, etc, etc. But that's how it is anyway. But yeah, there's several low stars. Unlike Caesar, if you increase Caesar's hit count, you have to be careful because it's kind of part of Caesar's balance that he doesn't have good NP gain. But there are several units that you could twink their hit counts and it would be fine. Like, yes, it would make them stronger, but not in any significant way. It wouldn't matter very much. And some of them need it, right? Some of the units could use the hit count increase to make them a better unit. Like Deer Mid, give Deer Mid like a 4-hit quick. That he still would be, you know, worse than Ku, but that'd be something for God's sakes, right? Like, actually, for real, that's a legitimate advice. Give Deer Mid a 4-hit quick. But they hardly ever fuck around with hit counts, unfortunately. They kind of just, I don't know why, but they just don't. And I wish they would. Now, there are some old units that you absolutely could not change their hit counts, because even though their hit counts are low, they would become broken if, like, Carmella. You cannot give Carmella a 3-hit quick. Oh, I'm sorry, a 3-hit art, excuse me. She has a 1-hit art, and she's balanced around that, and her NP gain per hit is outrageous. So if you gave her like a 3-hit art, she would just be, it would be absurd. I mean, she would just get her NP no matter what every time she did a fucking art card, right? And Steno is another example of that. So you have to be very tactical with it. You'd have to really sit down and think about it and plan it out and hit the paper and do some math. And as such, they're never gonna do it because they don't want to do that, I presume. But let's see what we can do here. We'll do this as well. Although I don't know why, these enemies are pretty weak. I'm not sure what I'm thinking here. I mean, she doesn't have foe items and her CE has 0 attack on it, so maybe this thing lives.
Yes.
Yeah, they've twinked a few hit counts. Very few though, and like, there's a lot of stuff that they did a long time ago that they've never done again. Like, Waver got an actual buff, not a strengthening quest, not an interlude, right? They just buffed him, right? And they did that for Mordred Summer as well. Now that one is because though she was just, I truly think something was wrong. Like someone typed in the wrong number in the data because her. Either that, okay, I truly think they wanted Mordred to have, like, bad NP gain, because if you, it's so weird, no one would believe me, unless you actually played the game back then, but they were trying to prevent what the meta is now. They knew that NPs could refund themselves if they were art or quick, and you had a lot of art up, quick up, and you had a high hit count. And so back in the day, they would jump through hoops to try to prevent that, right? Because they knew people would have like Tam and stuff. But people still found, like Tam, the kind of classic 3-turning you see right now with Castoria, people were doing that with Tam back in the day. It was just a lot harder and a lot rarer, and you needed like very specific setups to do it. But so because of that, they did not, most art NPs had very low hit counts, or even just 1. Or they actually had a special modifier on their NP to nerf it. And they're still like that today, those old units. Kurotsugu is like that, 100 Face is like that. When they NP, their NP gain actually goes down temporarily. So their NP hit count is lower. Because they had art NPs with a high hit count. They feared it so much, but over time, power creep happened. And then now they've just let go of the floodgates, and now it's just looping is the standard. But so part of what I think happened with Mordred was they were very much still in that mindset of, oh god, we have to make sure NPs aren't refunding themselves. And so they wanted her NP gain to be lower, but I think they just messed it up and they made it way too low. Because pretty quickly they like hot fixed it and they just changed the numbers under the hood, and then she started having better NP gain. Because she like could not get her NP without raw battery when she first released. Oh, this song is really good, but it's looping, so let me fix that. I think it's been looping for like an hour and a half. I just wasn't paying attention. But it do be a banger. I don't know why I didn't just grab Chiron's NP there. I mean, we're all gonna win next turn. I could see someone losing this stage though. If you weren't optimal with your NPs and like your crits, and you just like were saving the evade for the enemy NPs, which they never get, and you get crit, right? Because these guys aren't scripted. They can just randomly like triple attack the same unit or whatever. So you could get unlucky and get crit at a bad time. And if one of your units dies, you're actually in trouble if you go back row. Yeah, that is actually pretty funny, Yuri, now that you mentioned that. I didn't even think about that. But I think they were more okay with it with our Archer Artoria because she had no survivability, she was single target, you don't use that for farming much, and in their eyes she had a negative with the NP drain, right? So I think they were like, and she was a 5-star, right? They want that money. Yeah, Archer Artoria though is rare in that, wow, were they just like temporarily summoned in this event? Like, are they just like quick Chaldia summons? Because normally they don't characterize the quick Chaldia summons because they don't know what units you're gonna bring, so they just don't. But every once in a while they do. So I'm guessing those are just like Chaldia summons to like help you out in a bad situation. But I don't know, I haven't read the translation for this. Most events are just not worth my time, story-wise, in my opinion. Yeah, I know about that visual novel. Most people do. What I think is ridiculous... Okay. First off, they announced them bringing a visual novel to North America, which they have, like, never done, right? We don't have, like, any of the visual novels. And they announced this at the FGO panel, right? And it has nothing to do with FGO. And I'm like, how about you guys bring over, I don't know, the backbone of the series, like Fate Stay Night. Like we literally don't have an official translation for fucking Fate Stay Night. Like, what? Like, how do you announce the fucking Witch visual novel? And it's because an anime is coming out for it. That's why. But, yeah, that's pretty silly. And then also, yeah, it's not on PC, when visual novels are pretty much only have a market on PC, and it's because Japan is scared of piracy and blah, blah, blah. It's so dumb, dude. If they put that out on Steam, it would sell like crazy. You know what's weird is a lot of smaller devs have figured that out. You see a lot of like smaller devs putting out visual novels or whatever the fuck on Steam now, and you know, they get a chunk of sales out of it. You know, like, yeah, they're not necessarily getting top sales, but it's just free money, right? It's literally free money. And it's like, no offense to visual novels, but most visual novels are trash, and it's because they feel like they literally can only make, like, romance and porn, and they feel like they can't make anything but those two things, which I don't think is the case, but they think it's the case because that was the industry standard for so long. But anyway, you know, not a lot of variety with visual novels, but that's actually part of why, like, the genre doesn't grow very much. But even with the genre being rather niche like that, it still, you know, sells okay. So we're Fate Stay Night, one of the only visual novels that has a bit more substance to it. And obviously it had sex scenes in it, but it wasn't actually... The thing about Fate Stay Night is, first off, they removed the sex scenes and they don't exist anymore. But they were never the point of the series. They literally added it because... They said this, and this shows why the industry is so messed up. They thought that Fate Stay Night would not sell if it was just a story. Because they thought that's literally the reason that they put the sex scenes in it. Because they thought that they had to trick people into buying a regular story. Funnily enough, the opposite happened, where people only bought it for the story, and everyone thought the sex scenes were cringe and horrible, and they ended up just removing them, right? As they re-released it, they just took them out. So it was actually the opposite. It sold in spite of the shitty sex scenes instead of because of them. I mean, they were just, you know, horribly tacked on and just, I mean, atrocious. Although it's almost meme-worthy how bad they were. But I don't know why the visual novel scene, though, is like stuck in that mindset. But anyway, my point is there's really no reason that Fate Stay Night would not sell if it was on Steam when you have all these other visual novels selling when they're on Steam, right? Look, I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with like romance novels and blah 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 blah. I'm not saying that stuff can't exist inherently. I'm sorry, but that's not why Fate Stay Night sex scenes are cringe. That's just not why. Like, they're so fucking bad. You know what else is cringed? Just bad writing, period. You know, a bad action movie is also cringe, right? It's not like it's inherently bad to have, you know, sex or romance or both in a story. That's not the problem. It's when it's shoehorned in there or crap. And a lot of visual novels are crap. I'm sorry, they're just bad, right? Even if you want, you want, you know, quick, you know, schlock, like, you know, a romance novel or whatever, they're not even good at that. They're just cheap garbage, right? Now, I'm generalizing. I know there's good visual novels out there, of course, but there's a lot of visual novels that are just badly written, poorly structured, even if you're trying to be a, you know, schlock, right? They're not even good at doing that, right? You know, being garbage is cringe. Yeah, thank you, right? I see that kind of like defense though of visual novels all the time. And it's like, no, most people don't find it cringe because it's romance or because it's sex or both. It's because it's like juvenile, right? That's the thing. So you don't even get your Mystic Code, so it doesn't matter what we bring here. And actually, how I feel about it personally is a lot of what I just said, but also I don't like, and this goes for a lot of things, this doesn't just go for romance, but I find romance is shoved into stories that it just doesn't belong. It doesn't mean romance is inherently a bad thing, but there are stories where they're literally adding it as a quota. Right? They're like, oh, we gotta, you know, maximize our demographics here, so we just gotta slap a love interest in this for no reason, and then of course, you know, love blah 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 blah, and it's like, it just has no business in it, right? And it's like shallow, and it's, you know, not playing into what the story is about, and it just takes away from it, right? And now that's not unique to romance, that can happen to other things, but yeah, I agree with APOC to an extent. I think some of the romance in APOC is fine, but a lot of it is not, right? Like, I would say Atalante and Achilles, it's fine because it's core to what the characters are, like, doing, right? Like, the whole interactions with those two characters and, like, why, what happens with them at the end and everything. So Achilles and Atalante is fine, but, like, Joan of Arc and Zig was horrible. Oh my god, that didn't work. That did not work for me. Now, some people like it, and that's fine, but that did not work for me. But there's like action movies and all kinds of stuff where they just slap a romance in it just because like it's a quota, and you know, it's very shallow and it's very poorly written and it's not. But I've seen the opposite too. Now, this is very subjective what I'm about to say, but I have a very hard time reading any kind of story that is almost purely romance. I almost just can never get into it at all, and I don't think romance on its own does a very good job of. It's too narrow, right? It's not enough, right? I like when there's more than one or two characters that are important, and you know, there's different characters with different dynamics and different, you know, character arcs going on, and they're playing off of each other. That's what I really like. The shallow side of me just likes good action, right? Now, I have a shallow side too, of course, but so romance just doesn't generally work for me because it's either tacked on or it's the only thing that matters, and it's generally like only 2 or 3 characters tops are important, and it's just too narrow of a story. So it's one of my least favorite genres, so I do have a bias there, but I think my reasons are legitimate, I would say. All right, let's throw. No, we'll save. We'll save most of our skills here. We'll do Buster, Art. Oh God, there's a Lancer again. I don't mind Amakusa and Semiramis. Like, I can see why they're on the same page for the most part, and it doesn't take up any screen time really. So it's in the middle, right? I would say Atalante and Achilles is like works and it fits into the story fine, and it's not like beating you over the head or anything. It's fine. And like literally the reasons now they cut it from the fucking anime because the anime's trash. But like the reason, you know, Achilles likes Atalante makes complete sense, and it's completely in line with his character. And for some reason, they literally cut that scene from the anime because, you know, that makes sense. But anyway, God, the anime is so bad, dude. They cut out every bit of characterization for like the entire cast except for Zig. I mean, I can't even believe it. They cut out all these like fundamental scenes for Mordred, Chiron, Frankenstein, VC Brawn. Basically everything with the VC Brawn was cut. Achilles, and they cut all of it. I mean, all of it from the anime. It's absolutely insane. And they also watered down the fight scenes dramatically. It fucking sucks, dude. The APOC anime is a shit show. It's got good music and it's got good voice acting and stuff, but that's about it. I mean, that's what it starts off as, but I think there's more to it there. I think that's. I mean, first off, Shakespeare's not exactly the best. Not exactly the best person to take an opinion from, I'll put it that way. But, you know, they get... Achilles basically does sort of as like a crush, but the reason makes sense, right? It's completely in character. And then by the end of it, right, you know, he's basically saving her ass, and, like, it makes sense, right? So that works for me. But Semiramis and Amakusa is kind of in the middle. It doesn't really need to be there, but it's okay, and I can, you know, buy it. But it's kind of whatever, right? Like, that one's kind of in the middle. Or the Joan of Arc and Zig is just terrible, and that doesn't make any fucking sense, and it feels completely shoehorned in there. So they kind of run the spectrum there, but none of them get that much screen time, but then you kind of wonder why it's there to begin with, so. Okay. Do I want to NP? I kind of want to kill this guy first, but I do want to heal. So we will... Do I art chain just to get Rice Man's NP, or I think he's gonna get it anyway? I mean, we're not gonna do much damage no matter what. When has Shakespeare's advice ever gone wrong? Oh, I wonder. There are some pretty great scenes though with Shakespeare that got cut from the anime that make me very sad. You have to read K&K to understand the movies? No. Like, that's a pretty good adaptation. And the movies are just adapting the books. So, I really stand by this. I think some of the Nasuverse stuff, the anime is so watered down, you really miss out on some really, like, good shit for, like, character development and whatnot. But I don't think K&K is like that. I think K&K is totally fine. I think APOC is actually the worst. I think APOC from the book to the anime is like just like wow, you're missing so much that is like worth a damn. Now I don't think the APOC books are like godly or anything, but like the fight scene with Adam is so much better in the book, and all the character motivations are way better in the books. I just think it's much better. The anime is nice for the music and voice acting, but it's just so watered down. Actually, I don't think Dean's Day Night is a bad start at all. I actually disagree with that very fundamentally. Everyone, I don't even get this. Everyone acts like Dean's Day Night is a bad adaptation, and I don't think it is at all. I think the Fate route is just bad. That is not Dean's Day Night's fault. And like, every time I bring this up, no one gives me any substance of how they disagree with me. They give me nothing. Everyone just says Dean's Day Night bad, herp or derp. And they don't make any fucking points. I really stand by this. Almost everything that is changed in Dean's Day Night, like where they changed from the visual novel, is an improvement. And I would say by a lot. Right, the CGI dragon is dumb, but it is so much fucking better than the fucking sex scene that's there in the visual novel. It is so much fucking better, right? And like, they added in like unlimited blade work stuff, especially with Kozuki, but that's good. The Fate route is so bad. Like, dude, seriously, how many people have actually read the Fate route? Because I have, and everything surrounding Medea is fucking terrible. Because they don't explain anything, you never learn any of her character motivations, you have no idea who her fucking master is, and all the fight scenes and like all the stuff leading up to Medea, where Gilgamesh shows up and everything, is crap. Like, it's just crap. It is so much better in Dean Stay Night. You understand her character motivations, you know about Kozuki, you get the good action scenes with Kozuki beating up Saber, and it doesn't break the story. There's literally no problem with like the Kozuki action scene against Saber and stuff being in the Fate route instead of Unlimited Blade Works. It doesn't affect anything. It's just better. It's literally better. The only thing I can think of that's like bad in Dean Stay Night compared to the visual novel is like Kozuki is definitely shown to be more morally black, where he's supposed to be like hard gray. They definitely fucked that up. That really is a mistake. Like if you look at the characterization of what they say about him and stuff in the visual novel compared to the anime, both the dub and the sub, it's just they kind of fucked that up. I don't think it's that big of a deal because you still get the most of what his character is about, and I don't think it's that bad. But honestly, I think Dean Stay Night's fine. Like its animation quality is kind of whatever, but it's a really old anime. I mean, nothing that came out in that era looks particularly good. Like look at all the other anime that released the same year as it, and if anything, it looks better. So that again, it's a fair criticism to say that its animation is nothing to write home about, which I mean I would agree with. But that's not enough for me to be like, oh, this sucks. Right? Let's just be honest. The Fate route sucks in the visual novel. It's not very good. And I think it is significantly better in Dean Stay Night. I think they improve upon it dramatically. And like they miss, like, you know, there's a few things that they kind of messed up, but they were things that like Nasu hadn't clarified yet. Like Gilgamesh versus Ku. Nasu hadn't clarified that, and it's literally not in the visual novel. So like, of course they're not going to get that right. What I always see, the criticism I see of Dean Stay Night, and I see this over and over and over again, is they don't like, because they don't give Shiro's like inner monologues, you don't understand his character, and I completely disagree with that. And I think I am like proof of this because I watched Dean Stay Night first before I read the visual novel, and I remember people telling me, "Oh, you don't understand Shiro unless you read the visual novel," and I didn't like not believe them. I was like, "Okay, I'll read the visual novel." And so you get his inner monologues, and I'm like, I already knew all of this. Like, they don't explicitly tell you some of the stuff in the anime that the visual novel does, but it is things that you can so fucking obviously, like, you have to be like a just moron if you cannot pick up what they're putting down in Dean Stay Night to understand Shiro's character. Like you know, him feeling unfulfilled and filling that with like wanting to be a hero with what Kurotsugu was, and you know, self-sacrifice. How the fuck are you gonna miss that? Like, if you don't get all that shit from the anime, you ain't paying attention, right? So I remember everyone saying Shiro's so much better in the visual novel, and I'm like, I did not learn anything. I already knew all of this. So I never have bought that like Dean Stay Night did not characterize Shiro well enough. The only character I feel like they fucked up was Kozuki, and I do think they fucked him up a bit, but that's it. And yeah, the animation could be better, but I mean, for fuck's sake, Fate Stay Night is a really old visual novel, and it's, you know, doesn't have very good line art and all that kind of stuff anyway. So I think Dean Stay Night is a massive upgrade over the Fate route in the visual novel. It's just the Fate route's not that good, right? Because like Fate Zero is a much better anime, right? But Fate Zero is also a much fucking better story. Right, so like no shit, an adaptation of Fate Zero is going to be better than an adaptation of the Fate route, because the Fate route fucking is trash. Also, Fate Zero came out much later, and you know, technology had improved, and Ufotable has a better budget, and they do have good animators and stuff, and they always had. But people will like, oh, K&K is old, but K&K is also a movie, and movies always have better animation quality. Like even Unlimited Blade Works, the movie version, not the anime, but the movie version. Which was made by Dean, again, has comparable animation quality to K&K, like, pretty easily. Like, it's shorter, because it's just one movie and all that, so the fight scenes are, like, it's so much more condensed. But, like, the motion to motion, right, like, the actual, you know, swings the characters are doing for combat and whatnot look completely on par with K&K, so... It's not like Ufotable's awesome and Dean sucks. It's more like Ufotable made Fate Zero way later, and they had a way better source material. And for K&K, they had a way better budget, and movies always look better. And then for Dean, their movie, you know, was trying to cram a whole route into, you know, an hour and a half, and that just doesn't work, where Ufotable never had to do that. Like, I really stand by this. I actually think Ufotable has some of the worst adaptations of Type Moon stuff, and everyone is just blinded by the pretty colors. Like I've examined this, and I've never seen an argument that even tries to convince me otherwise, because when you actually can look at Curse Arm versus Ku and Heaven's Feel, look at that in the visual novel, and then look at it in the anime. Like what the fuck? Like, they make Ku look like a moron in the anime, and he literally, you have internal logic problems because earlier you have Ku, you know, in like the Unlimited Blade Works and in the Fate route, although, you know, Ufotable never did a Fate route, but you have Ku saying, you know, he sticks to the rules and he doesn't want, you know, he'll kill civilians to prevent them from seeing, you know, the Grail War and all that like he's supposed to. But then in Heaven's Fields, for some fucking reason, he's running around on a highway and there's cars all around him, and he's just like what the fuck, right? It's just stupid. And there's just so much crap like that from Ufotable, where they just do weird changes to just, like, you know, make things more flashy, or to make a popular character have more screen time, or like they have Artoria beat Hercules and Unlimited Blade Works, where she's supposed to get her ass kicked. You know, they do so much shit like that. They added Rin into Fate Zero, and they cut Enkidu because they literally said they thought Enkidu would take away from like Artoria's awesomeness. Right, that's not what they said word for word, but that's essentially what they were saying, is they didn't want to put Enkidu in Fate Zero because it would take away from, you know, Artoria's Excalibur and all that bullshit. So I'm like, I don't buy this Ufotable's awesome Dean sucks nonsense, right? I think Dean actually made some really intelligent changes. Like, again, Nasu had not detailed what happened between Ku and Gilgamesh. He hadn't put that information out yet. I actually checked on that. I looked at when Nasu put that information about like what happened between Ku and Gil, and versus when the visual novel released and when Dean's Stay Night came out, and he hadn't put it out yet. And so Dean actually did a lot of research. They have Ku do better against Gate of Babylon than Artoria does, which is accurate. He has protection from arrows. They don't have him do well enough, but you know, they at least did something. They have Gil use Chains of Heaven, which he never uses in the Fate route, but it makes complete sense for him to use it against Ku, because Ku has divinity and it actually will work on him. And they have Gil use the weapon that killed Ku in Ku's story. That's a deep cut. That never happens in Fate Stay Night, right? Because Fate Stay Night never shows Gil versus Ku, right? They never tell you that Seabolg, Kalabulg, or whatever it's called, they never tell you that's the weapon that kills Ku. You only know that if you've actually read Ku's fucking story, right? And the fact that they have Gil use it, it's obvious that they did the research. And there's just a lot of stuff in Dean's Stay Night like that. You can tell the showrunners of Dean's Stay Night really liked Fate Stay Night and really liked the stories that they were based on, and they did their fucking research. There's evidence of that all over it. Now, there's also evidence that, you know, it's an old anime and it didn't have a great budget, and, you know, and the Fate route is trash. So, you know, good luck adapting that. But honestly, for what they set out to do, right, what Dean was supposed to do, which was adapt the Fate route, they did, and with the budget they had, I think they did about as good as you're going to do. And then Ufotable, you know, had a better budget and was, you know, better technology, and was handed Fate Zero, which is a much better thing to adapt. So obviously it's a better product at the end of the day. But I really stand by this. I think Ufotable makes really, and like, if someone disagrees with me, tell me. What I always see is people that have watched Fate Zero, the anime, never read the book, and there's like, oh yeah, this anime is awesome. And they watch Dean's Stay Night, like, yeah, Fate Zero is better, so Ufotable is better than Dean. But most people haven't read Fate Zero, the book. I have. Most people haven't read the Fate route. I have. And so I can see what Dean is working with and what they're adapting and what Ufotable is working with. And I'm like, I think Ufotable's decisions are crap. I think they have pretty animation, right? And their animators know how to, you know, they do a good job. And it's not the animators' fault. The animators for Ufotable don't make storyboard decisions. They don't decide like, oh, Artoria is going to beat Hercules for some fucking reason. They don't do any of that, right? So it's not their fault. So I'll give all the credit to Ufotable's animation staff. They do a great job. You know, they do good. You know, good on them. So I'll never give them any hate for that. But when it comes to like their story decisions and the things they change, the adaptation decisions they make, I think all of them are garbage. I can't not even think. Okay, now I can think of one. I can only think of one time Ufotable changed something, and I thought it was an improvement. And that was Medusa in Heaven's Feel. Like when she drops the archery captain, you know, she puts her down really careful and everything. And that makes sense because that doesn't really happen in the visual novel because they don't, you know, it's not a visual medium, right? There's no like effort given to what Medusa is doing with the archery captain. Like how she, nothing is said, right? So you wouldn't know. But so that's an adaptation choice to have her like put her down really carefully there, which is kind of weird because she was just, draining her of all of her mana. So that's like a, aggressive thing. And so, there's like a weird counterproductive thing going on there, but it makes sense because, she's only attacking her because Shinji told her to, and she has to follow his orders. But she doesn't actually like, murdering people or any of that. And so she's trying to be as nice as possible given the circumstances. So that that's a good adaptation choice. But that's a pretty small thing ultimately, and I can't think of anything else Ufotable has ever done that I thought was a good adaptation choice. Like every major thing, like Ku versus Curse Arm is so fucking stupid, and their adaptation, it's animated well, but it's fucking dumb as hell, and it's completely out of character for Ku, and it's not even how the fight's supposed to go. They changed Herc versus Artoria just to make Artoria look awesome, and it makes no fucking sense. Does not respect Herc's abilities. Makes Herc look like a bitch. Fate Zero, the added Rin. The fucking Rin, the Rin episode is not in Fate Zero originally, and that's the worst episode in the entire thing. They took out Enkidu, which is so stupid because not only is Enkidu awesome, but that flashback characterizes Gilgamesh. It's a very important piece of information for Gilgamesh, and the fact that they removed that is just insane. They change, like, they don't make it clear the way Lancelot dies. They make it look like Artoria just like cuts him down. That's not what happens, and it makes Lancelot look like a bitch because of that. I can just like endlessly name things like that. They make it sound like an Unlimited Blade Works. They make it sound like Kodamine only made Ku hold back against Emiya, where in the visual novel it's really clear that Kodamine makes Ku hold back against everyone, like Artoria and Curse Arm and all that, but they like word it in this really weird way in the anime to try to like make people think it's only against Emiya because they don't want to make Artoria look bad. They just do shit like that constantly, and it's just it's so obvious, and I find it really annoying. And they just make like weird cuts to like character scenes and whatnot. But yeah, I think Ufotable is awful when it comes to adaptation. They just have really, really good animation. Yeah, Enkidu's in Fate Zero. There's basically right after Saber Excalibur's Gilius' monster, Gil has a flashback to when Enkidu got like cursed by the gods and was dying and all that. And yeah, it's a really important thing for like character. I think a lot of people that don't like Gilgamesh would like some of them would like him if they had seen that scene. Not everybody. Some people are never going to like Gil, and there's plenty of reasons to not like Gilgamesh. But I think a lot of people don't really get his character because they never saw that scene. And I think that scene is like one of the most important scenes for Gil out of all the Fate works they've ever made. And that, of course, that's the one they fucking cut. It's very silly. And yeah, they were asked about it in an interview, and they said, I'm going to try to be very accurate to what they said. They said they didn't want to do it because it would take the focus away from like Artoria's big Excalibur moment. That's essentially what they said. But that's like such poor adaptation work, because like what they could have easily done, because I'm pretty sure the episode that Artoria uses Excalibur, the episode ends after Excalibur, right? So what they could have done was in the episode with Excalibur, and instead of going straight into Gil's flashback, just don't. And then in the next episode, at the start of it, start with the Gil's flashback like they did with Diarmid's flashback. There you go. Problem solved. But yeah, no, they cut that and they replaced it with the Ren episode for some fucking reason. But yeah, I just get so tired of people shitting on Dean's Day Night because yeah, it's there's problems with Dean's Day Night, but I don't think it's really the Dean's fault. It's not. It is a good adaptation for the most part. It's just Fate Route sucks and old anime. Like, what are you gonna do? But yeah, I think if people actually sat down and like actually read from start to finish the Fate Route in the Fate's Day Night visual novel, and then watch Dean's Day Night, I think most people would be like, okay, no, the anime is fine. It's just the Fate Route is really fucking stupid. Also, these are disgusting. What the hell? Really delayed reaction on that one, but like, what the actual, like, giant demon centipede, okay. Yeah, it's pretty much, I'm sure it's like a demon centipede, but yeah, it is a centipede more or less. Well, it's not like Excalibur reminds Gil specifically, it just makes him nostalgic in general, because that's kind of a thing with Excalibur. Okay, that's not Dean's fault either, though. I really stand by this. Dean is not to blame for 7 Deadly Sins at all. I don't know how anyone can have any understanding of the anime industry and hear what happened and be like, yeah, Dean's to blame. Like that's insane, right? Like they are in no way to blame. So from what I understand, what happened was the original studio that was doing 7 Deadly Sins, they did the first 2 seasons. They were contracted to do the 3rd season. I think it was A1. Am I right? I think it's A1 that did this. So they did the 1st season, the 2nd season, and they were contracted for the 3rd season, and they had done some pre-production. Actually, I think they'd done a decent amount of pre-production. But they had, in between, they had made the 7 Deadly Sins movie, and it didn't do that well, which is not that surprising because anime movies normally don't. But oh, it's Aniplex. No, Aniplex is the publisher. They're the one paying the bills. I don't think they're not the ones creating it. Aniplex is just the they're the studio, right? They're the money. They're not the ones getting there making anything. Anyway, the movie didn't do so hot, and because of that, A1 backed out. They had already done work on the 3rd season, but they backed out, and they said they didn't want to do 7 Deadly Sins anymore. And and first off, that was pretty scummy. Like they very abruptly quit, and they were just gone, right? And so this is where the huge mistake happened. Now, first off, already A1 is more to blame because that is just such a shit move to do that. But here's the real problem. The studio decided that they still wanted the anime to come out on the same timetable. They did not want to delay it. So all the pre-production work they can't use, right, because they don't own it, and you know they can't use the work from A1 because A1 quit and doesn't work for them anymore. So they had to hire a new studio and start from scratch, right? So they had to hire a new animation studio and start completely from scratch. But they wanted, and this is a fact, right? This is like the timetables, you know, we got the receipts on this. They wanted to release the anime at the same release date that it was originally going to release with A1, but they wanted to start over from the beginning. That is physically impossible, right? No, you could hire Ufotable, you could hire Dean, you could hire Clover. Does not, literally no matter who you hire, no one is getting an anime out in that time frame. From what I understand is they had like exactly 1 year to do pre-production and everything. They had to start from 0 and make everything in a year. That is impossible. You cannot do that. And what Dean did, now this is kind of a shitty move, but they did it because Dean knew it was going to suck, right? That's obvious. You do not need to be some big brain industry analyst to be able to see that in advance that the 7 Deadly Sins was going to be a shit show, considering the circumstances that was surrounding it with the budget and the timing and from what I understand, the studio just lost all faith in 7 Deadly Sins because the movie did bad, the studio quit, and they didn't care. They just wanted to rush it out. They didn't give it a good budget anymore. They just did not care. And so Dean is like, okay, studio doesn't care. They want shovelware. That's what Dean sees, and they're correct. The studio wanted shovelware. So Dean's like, okay, this isn't even worth our time. Because Dean has made some good stuff. If you look through Dean's library, they're not terrible. They've made some good stuff. Anyway, so what Dean did is they hired another studio. They outsourced it. They outsourced it to another company to just shovel it out and just meet the quota and just get it done. But that's not a great thing to do, but I don't blame them because, I mean, you look at the circumstances, it just wasn't worth their time. They had other projects to do. Of course, they were going to do it. So it just is what it is. I mean, ultimately, who is to blame is the studio. The studio didn't give a shit. They had a fucked up release date. They didn't give budget to it after the fact, and it's just there's no world any studio could make a good anime in that circumstance. Well, it's the same thing for season 3 because season 3 actually season 3 was even more screwed, I would say, because the reputation. Or season 4, or whatever. I can't remember which season. I don't remember. You know when. I think Dean took over in season 3, and then season 4 is the one after. So I'm getting my numbers mixed up. But season 3 did so badly, the reputation was so bad, there's no way season 4 is going to succeed. And from what I understand, I haven't like looked into this personally that much, but from what I understand, the studio was not, they were not changing their ways. They still wanted them to rush out the next season as fast as possible, and they still weren't giving them any budget, right? There's just, and as far as, and this one I'm pretty sure of, Dean still did not even do season 4, they still outsourced it. Like everything about Seven Deadly Sins is the studio not giving a shit, and not paying the people they're hiring enough money to do anything, and not giving them a timetable to do anything. So of course Dean phoned it in and didn't give it. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, literally, you could have hired Ufotable and it wouldn't have worked, right? You physically cannot make a good product in that time frame with that budget. It cannot be done. And so obviously it's trash. And Dean basically just didn't want to have anything to do with it. Like they obviously saw it as a shit show and were like, this is not worth their time. And so they just outsourced it. Like they literally didn't do it. You know, they outsourced it to a different company. Which again, in my opinion, if that was how they felt about it, they shouldn't have accepted it in the first place. But you know, people gotta put food on the table, so you know, bills gotta be paid. But yeah, it's A1's fault for quitting for a pretty stupid reason, and then it's the studio's fault for being like, well, we're just gonna, you know, shove it out the door. How I see it is the executives, I think they're incorrect, but I think this is what they thought, is all the issues with A1 had doomed them and it wasn't worth dealing with the hassle. So they were like, okay, just, you know, get it over with, right? You know, rip the Band-Aid off, just get the, you know, finish the manga, get it over with, because that's what people want. And we'll make a profit. And I'm sure they did, even though season 3 and 4 were terrible. I'm sure they still made a profit off of it, just because Seven Deadly Sins is so popular. But yeah, it's just executives are bullshit, and yeah, it happens to a lot of shows, unfortunately. Because from what I've seen of Dean in their other works, they kind of live or die by who they put in charge as the director. And I really stand by this. The director they put in charge of Dean Stay Night, he gave a lot of shits. I mean, I think it's so unobjective when people like act like Dean didn't care. And when you look at like stuff how they had, you know, Gil use Chains of Heaven and they had it operate functionally correctly, even though that's not in the visual novel. Because you don't see Ku versus Gil, it's off screen, and like them looking into the weapon that killed Ku and Gil knowing about what weapons killed people and all that. You know, they just did a lot of work there, and I think the stuff they put from Unlimited Blade Works into the Fate route was pretty natural and worked well. I really think like there's a lot of love in Dean Stay Night. I think it reeks of them giving a shit. It's just yeah, the Fate route. Good luck. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff from Dean though that's not good, but there's plenty of anime that is pretty good, and that's most studios. I mean, Ufotable made that stupid fucking anime about land sharks. That might sound awesome, but holy crap, it is not. Like the premise sounds amazing, right? Like land sharks, you know, sign me up. That is one of the, I'm not even kidding. That is one of the worst anime I have ever seen in my entire life. I forget the name of it, but yeah, there's this Ufotable anime. You know, it's animated decently well. The animation quality is decent because, you know, Ufotable pretty much always has good animation, but it is so bad. The premise is basically the sea life has like gone rogue and can go on land and is like, you know, zombie apocalypse essentially. It's terrible. I mean, I stand by this. It is one of the worst anime I have ever seen, and the manga from what I've seen is not that great either, but the manga is better than the anime. Now again, it's not that great, but the anime is a downgrade. Yeah, all studios have, you know, they have to pay bills and they take on projects they shouldn't, or they have to be rushed, and you know, there's just all kinds of things that happen. And I'd actually say the anime industry is one of the most unhealthy industries ever. They take advantage of animators' passion and they don't pay them enough. Like a disproportionate amount of the budget goes to the voice actors, and I'm not hating on voice actors. Voice actors, you know, deserve to be paid their fair share, abso-fucking-lutely. But if you break down, it is so fucked up how little the animators get paid, and it is because there's so much passion for animating. And but I mean, I'm sorry, voice acting is important and it's hard work. Well, I don't know about hard. It's a skill, right? Not everyone can do it. You know, you have to be talented to be a voice actor, right? Animation is so much fucking harder. It is a million times more time intensive. It is even more like rare that people are going to be good at it. It is. Animation is one of the hardest things you can do when it comes to like a job. It is fucking grueling. It is a nightmare, but there's so much passion in it that a lot of people get taken advantage of, and they'll accept pay they shouldn't, and it becomes like an industry standard that you can basically pay animators slave wage, right? Animators literally get some of the worst pay in Japan, right? It's awful. And they work insane hours, and it's an incredibly difficult field. It is the hardest way to tell a story. That's a fact. Animation is the hardest way to tell a story, and is the most time intensive. And it's one of the worst paying, right? It's really messed up. A huge proportion, though, of anime budgets go to the voice actors. And it's because voice actors are like, you know, they're big names in Japan, right? It's kind of like if you get Tom Cruise in a movie, right? Tom Cruise gets a huge amount of the budget. And that's fair to an extent. Right, of course it's fair to an extent, but you still need to be able to pay your whole staff enough to function. And the problem is the anime industry doesn't. They don't pay their staff enough to function. And so they end up having to work insane hours. People go to a hospital all the time. Animation studios shut down all the time. There are so many problems in the anime industry that result in all these terrible anime because it's just an unhealthy industry. It's fucked up. Like it's one of the worst industries I've seen. And you know what's messed up? That anime studio that made like the Haruhi anime and stuff like that. They were famous for being one of the very few animation studios that was not shit. They did pay their animators well. They tried to keep, you know, hours within reason. They were like notorious for not being garbage. And they're the ones that got attacked and had their building set on fire, and a lot of their employees were killed for like, you know, fucking garbage reasons, right? Like they were like one of the only good animation studios ever, and they had that was done to them, right? It's so messed up. I'm pretty sure though they stayed in business though, and they were able to bounce back. But I mean, that was so. Yeah, there was just like that crazy guy. Yeah, that was so messed up, dude. That was an absolute tragedy. And like again, it's like the only animation studio that's not like doing slave labor, and that happens to them. It's so messed up, dude. But yeah, anime industry not great. You know, it sucks too because I like anime in theory. The combination of voice acting, music, you know, animation. 'Cause I love animation. It's really awesome and interesting, and there's so much you can do with it. And combining storytelling, writing, voice acting, music, it's awesome, right? On paper, I love it to death. But the animation industry is just so unhealthy and like messed up that I don't like that much anime. I really don't. Most of it is schlock these days, and it's like it's poorly animated and shit like that. It's shovelware. Most anime these days is shovelware, and of course there's exceptions. There's plenty of exceptions, but it's not a healthy industry, and I find difficulty in finding anime that I like, right? When I do find it, I like it a lot, right? I like Black Lagoon a lot, Baccano, you know, Fate Zero is great. And there's some newer stuff that I've seen. I struggle to remember names, but I've seen anime that I definitely like. But yeah, it's not a healthy industry. Not that the movie industry is any better, I suppose. I don't really ever watch mainstream movies and enjoy that either, but anime these days remind me of Pokemon Jump to 3D, just bright tones and cheap 3D models. Yeah, I mean, it's not a one-to-one comparison, but I get what you're saying, and I do agree. They don't have, you know, smooth animation. Like, it's actually pretty jarring if you go back and watch like stuff from like the 80s and the 90s. Obviously, it's lower quality in terms of like, you know, the camera is going to be, it's a much older camera, and, you know, they couldn't preserve the film as well and stuff like that. But when you look at the objective animation techniques and the amount of frames per second, it's just better. Like, and in some cases by a fuckload. Like, I was watching 0080, and I remember I watched Gundam 0080 as a kid, and I never really took note of the animation, right? Because, I mean, the other things that were animated in that period also looked pretty good, and I just didn't, you know, take note of it. And I wasn't a huge fan of 0080. I mean, it's okay, but, you know, I wasn't a huge fan of it. And then I watched it many years later, and I was like, oh my god, this animation is amazing. Right? It's just, it's so much better than what you get out of the majority. And again, there's some modern anime that does have very good animation, but most of it doesn't. Most of it, they are constantly doing like these tactics. They're like known tactics in the animation industry to try to like hide bad animation quality. They're like spamming that in modern stuff, and it's rather frustrating. And whenever you know, there's stuff from the 90s that looks, or 80s that looks really bad too, but I can find a lot that just like is so much better than the crap that we see from the average anime today, and it's just kind of depressing. And this is Disney, right? So you know, animation, Japan, America, it's still animation. You know, if you look at Lion King and all those like older Disney movies, like them or not, the animation quality is phenomenal. I mean, it is absolutely phenomenal. Like the amount of frames per second is just crazy. It's shocking, right? Like it's so smooth, it's ridiculous. And so there was I don't remember which Disney movie it was, but it was like within the last 10 years, right? Which is when, you know, Disney has, obviously they don't do animation anymore. They do 3D animation, but they don't do like classical animation anymore. But I don't remember which movie it was, but one of their movies, they were doing a throwback scene where they were, for like the scene, they were going to do, you know, proper 2D animation. And basically everyone that worked for Disney couldn't do it because none of them knew how. And they were just shit. They were just shit at it. They could just do 3D. They couldn't do like 2D techniques. So they had to go bring back like a whole bunch of veterans from back in the day to come in and like teach the whisper snappers what the fuck to do to actually do animation properly. And that's Disney. That's fucking Disney. They don't know how to animate anymore, right? Like it's just sad, dude. But yeah, it's a combination of like, there's so much passion there, so animators get taken advantage of, and then it's also, animation is just not practical. You know, it looks great and it's unique, and it's one of the best ways to like transport someone, you know, to another world, if you will, because it's like, it's not the same. You know, if you want to have a fictional world with like magic and shit, animation is really good for that because it's not the actual world, so you don't have that weird, you know, contrast that can kind of be jarring. But animation is just, it is so time consuming. I mean, like a veteran animator, I'm pretty sure, like, now this was before I hit some of the modern technology, but if I remember correctly, it was something like a veteran animator will do 2 seconds of animation a day. And that's a veteran, right? So your whole day and you get 2 seconds done. And you know, you look at how long an average movie or an anime is, and you can realize how messed up this is. And also, that's a veteran, right? So your whole staff is not going to be made up of veterans. So yeah, you can see a clear problem there. And the impracticality of like how many animators you need, and just how slow it is, and how, and even worse than that, it's not a job you can just hire someone for and train them and boom, they can do a good job. It's not like that at all. It is, most animators that are incredibly good have been doing it their entire life, and for like an ungodly amount of years. Most people are not going to pick up animation and be even remotely good at it in like 2 years. Not even close, right? They're going to be trash. Like it is such a difficult field, and so it's like kind of not economically viable, and I think that's why kind of even though there's so much demand for it, people love it. You know, from kids to adults, people really like animation, right? It's like, and look how popular it is on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. You know, people freaking love animation, so there's a massive demand for it, but it is just so expensive and difficult to do. And it's so hard to get staff for it and all these other things that they basically have to like cheat to get by. They have to like pay their animators too little and try to take advantage of their passion. You know, have fucked up, you know, budgets and fucked up timetables, and you know that's the only way that they can keep up with the modern era, and it's not viable, and that sucks because I love animation, but yeah, it's just not viable. So that's why over time it's been phased out for 3D. Yeah, a lot of the super good animators are dead or retired now, or they just don't want to work in the industry anymore, for obvious reasons. But yeah, it kind of sucks. A lot of the because a lot of the people that were super good at animating during like the 80s and shit were a bit older, right? Just because they've been animating for so long. Oh my god, no, this event. No good boss fights. I remember day one of this event, people were telling me to not be so judgmental of the event because it was only the first day, and how could we know if the event was going to be good or not on the first day? Remember that, chat? Now here we are, knee deep in it, and oh look, it's exactly like I said. It's almost like I've played this game for a long time, and I can see this shit coming or something, because there's just a formula they follow when it's going to be one of these garbage-ass events. And, you know, literally day one, you could tell they were following that formula, so... I mean, the last two bosses are pretty much always okay. You know, we generally have, you know, a good ending boss and a good challenge quest, but an event that does not make. Right? That's just a thing. Like, they're just so... Lately, it's just been so much, you know, glorified daily farming, and then like a challenge quest at the end of it all, and then once, you know, a story node per day, right, which is like really easy and boring and, you know, whatever. Gouda 6 is kind of bad. It's better than this, definitely better than this, but you know, Gouda 5 is so much better than it. It's rather disappointing. There's really nothing special in it. It's all pretty dull. Good rewards, very good rewards off memory, like you get some nice stuff out of it, but yeah, nothing too great. But again, it's better than this event. I think they could make tower events better. Like the Amazon one I thought was pretty bad. And the beginning of the Galatea one is bad. It becomes good, but the beginning is bad. Like tower events are again much better than this, but I think there's definitely some room for improvement in that department. What game are you talking about, Fury? You mean Pokemon? I mean, I don't think Pokemon needs any help getting people into it. It's still a ridiculously popular IP. My issue with Pokemon, I've never played a Pokemon game, but I've watched it a little bit because of Cairo, and you know, Fury and many other people are like into Pokemon, so they, you know, they'll tell me about it. My issue with it though is like every game ever, the gameplay has the depth of a puddle. So yeah, that's not very appealing to me. Oh yeah, that good event though. I mean, the robot boss was awesome. If you didn't, I can't remember if it had an event CE, but if it did, you definitely couldn't use it to make it fun. But let's see, what was that event? I mean, the robot boss was good. I don't think really much else in the event was good though. You know, the challenge quest was fine. The final bosses were fine. Oh no, that's the one, right? That's the one with the a million servants that are canonically servants that got sprites and everything, but aren't playable because fuck you. That one. That had a few other good fights. You had to like hold its hand a bit, you know, and like not power game it. But there were some content there to have fun. Certainly more so than this event, because like the assassin fight was all right and stuff, and you could fight it neutral, and some of them would be pretty spicy. Yeah, that one was all right. That was not as good as Gouda Final, but yeah, I'm getting my events confused. Yeah, there's Gouda Final, and then there's the one with like the Nobus, right, that like raid you and all that, and that one is pretty crap. And then there's the one with the robot guy and all that, and that one's pretty good. It again, it's not even close to good a final, but it is still acceptable, I guess. See, he could NP right now if I had his skills upgraded, but I do not. Wait, is our cat box fucked up? Looks decent to me. Am I missing something, chat? What is your top 5 favorite event? I don't know if I'd have to. I feel like if I name off the top of my head, I'm not gonna get it right. I'm gonna forget stuff because there's so many events. But like the usual suspects that I can think of, you know, Gouda Final was great. Setsubun was good. The Galatea event was really good. The beginning sucks, but that latter half of it in the bonus floors, I had so much fun with that. Like, that really good memory. Let's see. Some of the symbols are fucked up, huh? CCC's pretty good. I'd have to think about it. It might be in my top 5. I kind of doubt it though, just because the farming was a bit more intensive than I would like. But it had some good boss fights like Melt and Passion Lip and all that. So it's definitely up there. Yeah, Tesla Fest, absolutely. Tesla Fest, absolutely. Yeah, Gil Fest, Nero Fest, all that stuff is good. All the fests are really, really good. Saber Wars 2 is okay. I hate to say that, but it's okay. I don't like the Shadow Knights of the Round Table because they're not balanced very well. Let's see. I kind of want I kind of want to bust out a notepad. I kind of need to see this in front of me here. That is not how you somehow, because I typed in Genshin Impact to like launch the game earlier, it had kept that there. So I just typed in Genshin Notepad, so that is not what we needed. Okay, so I'm just gonna put fests, like all the fests, just in general. We'll call them Nero fests, but all of them. Here we can do, here, I need to make this bigger. Okay, is that, okay, there we go, we'll go like 22. So Nero Fest / Gil Fest Tesla Fest. Okay, there we go. Tower events, it just not the CEO one. So we'll go with Setsubun. I don't know if that's how you spell that. Setsubun, Pants, Tower. There you go. But yeah, not the other one. So I think like K&K and Fate Zero are really good for their time, but compared to like some of the better stuff, I don't think they're that good. Oh, there's a D-Luke skin? Could someone send me that? I want to see that. I'm gonna play Genshin again when the new zone comes out. Hopefully it'll be good. Gouda Final. That's such an easy include. I love that event so much. Yeah, Scatfest isn't on there because it didn't have the typical format. It wasn't so. I mean, it was okay. The farming. Actually, I'll say this: it's not enough to be on this list, but Scathfest is way better than like the event we're doing right now, because the farming was actually kind of fun. Like they had like the 111 stage and the 112 stage and stuff like that. And although Grailfront is kind of crap, it's better than these main story nodes. So I would actually put Scathfest higher than the average. Definitely below the elite. But is decent. You know what? I'll give the Veach event. It was pretty good. You know, I don't know if it would be in top 5. We'll put that on here. Veach event. I don't even remember what it's called. And I don't care to. Throw some names at me, chat. I mean, CCC is worth putting on here. CCC, that was good. I guess Gouda is Gouda 6 the one with the robot. Yeah, Case Files, fair. I put that a good bit lower than these, just because none of the bosses are actually that good. But it's still well above the average, so we'll put on like the first draft of this. Yeah, is it Gouda 6? Is it Gouda 6 that has the robot and the assassin and all that? Because it's maybe barely, but I'd say that's good enough. You know, for an old event, the Golden Sumo event is good. Legit, like a lot of those older Weeb ones were good. Like the raids were fun, and the Banana Oni one, and the Rider Kentucky one. Honestly, those if you brought them back, you'd need to buff the shit out of them. The content's not hard enough anymore. But you know what? Well, that is, you know, those raids every day. That was cool. That was cool. Golden Sumo is a I can't spell, is a really good CE, guys. Get it. There you go. APOC, nah, you know, good format. The format was awesome, but everything was so easy. Like, I think the format was fantastic, but you know what? This counts. You can't convince me otherwise. Because there was an event that was tied to it, and that was hype as fuck. Anyone, how many people here are actually, especially on JP, like, I hate to say this, but it's not the same experience on NA. How many people here played the Solomon event on JP? Because it's still cool on NA, but it was not the same thing. Because on NA, everyone, don't lie to me, you all had spoilers. You knew Guadia was coming, you knew about the Demon Pillars, you knew you should be ready to farm, you knew all that stuff. No one knew what the fuck was happening. It was so cool as like the things kept unlocking, you know, like every day or every few hours. And then like no one, like you don't know what the ending is going to be. And then it's Guadia and he's got this crazy design and he fucking NPs everyone and you're all dead. It was, I remember like, I was sick as fuck. I was like crazy sick when it came out. But the nice thing is I was off work because of that. And so I could play it. And I remember like right as the time gate lifted for Guadia and everything. Oh my God, dude. That was so fucking hype. By the way, I was so sick. I was having to go to the doctor, and I remember I was going to the doctor to like get like steroids because I was like so fucked up. But I remember my mother, because there was no way I was getting to the doctor on my own. My mother came and got me and was taking me to the doctor, and I remember being in the vehicle, and I was like in the way in the back, so I didn't want to get anybody sick. Although at that point I wasn't sick anymore. I was actually a sinus infection, but let's not get to the details. But I remember just feeling like utter garbage, but I was farming Barbatos. I remember I was farming Barbatos on the way to the doctor. Thankfully though, the doctor gave me crazy strong meds and stuff like that. And I felt better when Guadia came out. I didn't feel amazing, but I felt good enough that I wasn't miserable. Because I mean, I was fucking miserable during Barbatos. I was so messed up. But yeah, I remember. But yeah, seriously, Solomon event, it was good. It was good. I was so hype, like Guadia coming out and fighting him and all that stuff. That was a really, really good time. Okay, back to the events here. Chat, throw me. What are some of y'all's favorite events? Throw them at me. So I don't remember really liking any summer events. What was summer 4 though? That was the lake one. I mean, better than what we're doing now. But I mean, all the story nodes were so easy. Like, I mean, who gives a shit? And K&K was really easy. Thematically, it was great. But gameplay wise, I don't think it was. Now the rerun story. Okay, you know what? K&K rerun, because the rerun had that challenge quest, and normally a good challenge quest is not enough to be on a list like this because a lot of events have good challenge quests. That's one of my favorite challenge quests ever. It's so good. And then although the event itself is kind of boring and easy and just whatever, it wasn't a grind too much, and it was thematically really good. So this is not on the list for the same reasons as the other ones, but it is enough. It is enough. We've got let's see, good at 3 was pretty good. You know what, now that I think about it, it kind of is dwarfed by good of final, but it was still good, right? You could have fun fighting all those bosses at the end, Lee and all that shit. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was good, and it was fairly smooth in terms of unlocking shit, so I agree with that. Let's see, now the detective events were kind of dumb. There was like no gameplay and it was just kind of whatever. Yeah, CCC's on here. CCC's on here. Throw some names at me here, chat. Although, actually, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick and get water, etc., etc. I'll be back in just a second. And then throw some names at me. Case Files is on there. It's on there. I feel like I'm forgetting some good shit. Like, absolutely. Alright, I'm back. And I forgot to get water, but I at least have a little bit left. Burb event? I don't really like that one. I don't know. Well, it had a couple of good boss fights, like Chef Gwaine and stuff like that. Like, there was some fun to be had, but the farming was really tedious. I think that was really tedious. Edmund event, I really only liked the rerun. The fights just weren't hard enough until the rerun. But I don't know. I mean, we'll put both. Like, the rerun's better, but it's still, I wish they would do that kind of shit again. Does anyone feel like they don't do fun crap anymore? Like, we used to get crap like that all the time. Now it's just glorified dailies all the time. Like, it sucks. Chat, I see a theme here. All but one of these is old as fuck. Good as 6 is the only thing even remotely recent, and it's not nearly as good as most of the other stuff on this. Let me word this. That one awesome event you got. This great CE Golden Sumo. There we go. Tesla Fest is on here. It's on there. At the top. Tesla Fest was a lot of old content, yeah. Oh, that's what he meant. That's what he meant, was that it was a newer event. But yeah, it's a new event, but old content. But right here, this is what I'm talking about. When the fuck do they do shit like this anymore? Yeah, I'll give it. Veach actually is kind of unique, right? I'll say that. That was them trying something new, right? That was kind of like the Edmund Tower event where it's like it's a thing, right? You know, so that's fair. I don't like how you had to stay up to like 6 in the morning to do the raids, and that was most of the fun. But at least, like, so I don't rate it as highly as some of this other stuff, but that's fair. And that's pretty rare. I mean, the bulk of this list, you cannot deny the bulk of this list is old content. Like, overwhelmingly. Like, oh, and like these top ones are multiple, you know, like these are 2 right here. What else, chat? What else? You know, the original Christmas event. Yep, I agree with that. That's fair. I don't think Imaginary Scramble was that great. It had some good challenge quests. That one fight with the homunculus was really good, and the giant whale. But that was kind of it. I don't know if that's enough. I mean, it wasn't a pain in the ass. I'll say that. It wasn't a pain in the ass to do the event. What do y'all think? How did y'all feel about Imaginary Scramble? I felt like most of the content was just so gimmicky. It was like, you bring the story support or you can't win. And if you bring the story support, it's so easy. But, you know, that one fight with the homunculus actually was really fun. Like, I'll say it's above average. I don't know if it's as good as these, but it's much better than like what we're doing right now, right? It's definitely funner than that. Like, it'd be an honorable mention. I'm not sure I'd want to put it on here, though. If I was going to do some of my favorite challenge quests, though, that one's challenge quest. Definitely one of my favorites. That was really good. Also, crazy hard. For budget, anyway. It was so bullshit for budget. Well, I think we got a pretty good list. I don't know if chat's got any more ideas. But what's sad about this, so what do we got? We'll be generous and we'll count some of the medium ones. And so this is 3, and this is 2. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So right now we have 17 events in 7 years that were good. In my opinion. Obviously some people are going to have other ones they liked, but... So 0 is kind of good. It was good for the time, but it was so early in the game's life. You know, it didn't have a lot of gameplay that was very memorable, right? it was pretty fucking easy. Good theme, wasn't tedious. I will admit though, the theme was so good that I can give that a pass. Okay. So I would, if I could cut out the farming of Summer 3, I would put Summer 3 on here because of the raids and the final fight with BB and then the challenge quest. That would be enough, but no. The rest of that event is so bad. Summer 4 was really boring. It's really boring. Like, if I was gonna do a challenge quest list, this would be really different. Summer 3 would easily make it on a challenge quest list. Like, easy. Okay though, I'll save this so I can reference this, and we might try to add a couple to it, and then actually make a top 5. I don't know what would be top 5 out of this. I mean, Tesla Fest really stands out. Go to Final. Really stands out. Probably the Pants Tower event. Those 3 are absolutely top 5. The other 2 slots I'm not sure about. I'd have to really think about it, but those are absolutely top 5. Alright, let me save that so I don't forget it. That was a good question. Favorite events, FGO, there we go. Tier list video for, if I made a tier list video for events, it would be a meme. I'd put real thoughts in it, and I would like make legit criticisms and point out events I actually did like. But there's no world where I'm going to do every event that ever existed. So I would meme like crazy. Like I would meme all over that. All right, what are we doing here? Wave 3, I see. Please no kill Spartacus game. Look at this incredible NP game. You know, a green tier list might happen. Well, that might happen. Yeah, I'd throw in like the events that are controversial, like some people like them, and then, but I think they're shit, right? I'd put those in. I'd put a few mundane ones in just to represent all the mundane events. And then yeah, you'd go with the highlights and the lowlights. But like Summer 3 is kind of controversial. For some reason there's this band of people that think Summer 3 is awesome, and I'm just like, fuck that. I mean, the raids were fun. The challenge quest was fun. I think some of it though is because the NA players never played the original version. It looks like these guys have a defense buff, and Spartacus has ignore defense. Might be damage cut though. But yeah, a lot of people only play NA, and NA never had the original Summer 3, which was more farming intensive. It was still pretty damn farming intensive on NA though, but it wasn't as bad. I'll tell you what, nothing motivates me more to do an event tier list than thinking about the maze event. I have so much to say about that. And I remember because you base it off the original event, right? And again, NA never played the original shit show. Oh boy. Yeah, that'd be the reason to make the video, as an excuse to talk about that event. That's another one that is just awful, and people act like it's good. And it's great to show like the shallowness of FGO a lot of the times. It's not a maze. It is linear as fuck. It's window dressing. You're not actually navigating a fucking maze, right? You're just generically in a linear fashion clearing every floor. Like, there's literally no exploration, memorization, or anything maze related to it. Nothing. It's a fucking ladder event, for God's sakes, just with a window dressing of a maze. Like, God, that shit was awful. Yeah, board game event, same way. Yeah, those kind of events I would bring up, because they're trash. I mean, they're trash. They're not real events. Well, I mean, they're real events. They're not real gimmicks, right? They're not real, you know, there's the whole shtick of the event is just an illusion. Because even like the Edmund event, even though it's kind of a shorter event, you know, it's very actualized and it's its own thing. You know, the Edmund event is not like the event we're doing right now. It's not like Fate Zero. It's not like Good of Final. It's, you know, it's a unique thing, right? And it's good. Where a lot of these other events, they do, like even this event, right? This shit is so stupid. I haven't even done it on this account, but like, this mechanic is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at this. Like, oh, guys, what's this? UNA players might be like, oh, what is this? Is this some unique? No, this is just this is nothing. Like, it's nothing. It's an arbitrary, like, gating mechanic, right? You give a dog a hero proof, and then in 8 hours he comes back with a chain, and you get like 2k points, right? But you could just make the event scaled where you need 2k less points. Right, not exactly 2k, you get what I mean though, like however many they expect you to do. Like, this doesn't do anything. This is like, and okay, some flavor like this is harmless. I'll say that. I'm not like insulted by the existence of this mechanic. I'm insulted the fact that they act like this is a mechanic. And it's not just flavor, right? Because what we're actually doing is just spamming free quests like it's a daily right here. Like, that's all you're actually doing, right? That whole mechanic there is super irrelevant, right? And that's how most of the mechanics they make are. I think you get your material back. Like, I think the dog brings them. I think they do. Because if they don't, I'm never doing the hero proof one. Really, I don't need any of this stuff. It's just it's nice to get the points. You get the material used back? I thought that was the case. I wasn't paying attention though on my main, so yeah, might as well then. Just free points essentially. And like, I love dogs. Dogs are great. And if this was just like, okay, look, if this was an event like Good of Final or like the Edmund event or like anything we just listed, right? Or its own unique thing, and this was just a bonus part of it, right, for flavor, that's fine, right? No big deal, right? What about Grail Fronts? Fuck them. I mean, they're better than events like this event, right? Because this is just, you're not doing anything. But they're you know, shallow. I mean, they're not good. They're at least a new mechanic though. They have more depth than this does, right? But I don't think Grail Fronts are good, right? I don't think it's a good bit of gameplay, but I would do a Grail Front over what I'm doing right now. I'll say that. The first dog I sent out was my favorite. See if I can get a picture of them again. Let's see. I don't know if I can look at them now that I sent them all out. Let's see. I mean, I like all dogs, really. Yeah, probably the first one here. That's pretty great, but I like all of them. In real life, though, the way to go is just a normal, was it a mutt? Is that what they call it? Right, it's just a dog, right? It's not a breed, because breeding is ultimately very bad for dogs. There's some exceptions. A few dog breeds are fine and healthy, but I don't blame the dogs, though. It's not the dog's fault. But yeah, selective breeding has been pretty damaging to a lot of dogs and like very bad for their health. Where just like dogs are kind of the way to go. But so, there are some breeds that don't have health problems and whatnot. But it was a pretty, you know, fucked up process. You know, some dog breeds came about through natural means and like environmental stuff, and that's fine, right? That's just evolution. But most dog breeds came about through like human tampering and selective breeding, and they weren't. Selective breeding, if you do it based off of things that are going to be healthy for the dog, is fine, and you could actually produce very, you know, healthy, you know, strong living dogs. But a lot of the selective breeding that we did was for aesthetics, which does not result in Yeah, like pugs. You know, I don't hate the pugs. It's not the pugs' fault. But yeah, pugs, you know, are really screwed over genetically. And there's quite a few dog breeds like that where they have problems. And it's just humans being shit, unfortunately. But yeah, mutts are the way to go because they're just, you know, random breeding, which is how it's supposed to be. But yeah, there are plenty of dog breeds though that came about just through, you know, typical evolution means, and that's, you know, that's fine. Although evolution can be a bitch too, like some boars, you know, if they don't like murder their own tusks fast enough, it'll grow into their fucking forehead, right? Like that's pretty messed up. You know, evolution can be a dick too, but yeah, dogs are great. Who the fuck doesn't like dogs? They fucking, you know, find bombs and crap, dude. It's nuts. I always bring that up. Like, I have some family members that are like, they're not just diehard cat fans. They don't like dogs. They're like really against dogs. And they're always trying to say cats are just the best thing ever. And I always bring that up. It's like, dogs actually do practical things on many levels, right? They find survivors and like, when like buildings get destroyed or like sewers collapse, they're really helpful for stuff like that. They can sniff out, you know, bombs and drugs and all kinds of things like that. They can be good for, you know, they can legitimately protect you, right? There's been plenty of people that have, you know, like proper guard dogs that have protected them from, you know, fucked up stuff. And, you know, I'm not hating on cats, right? But and the funny thing is cats are manipulative though. That is true. And they've done like studies on this. It's not all cats, you know, their animals are much like humans, have a lot of unique properties, but cats in general, when you like study their brains and what they're doing, they are manipulative, right? They'll butter you up, they'll act nice, but they don't actually like you, and they're just manipulating you to get what they want. Where dogs legitimately are like, will build like attachments to people and will be, you know, super, super happy, you know, when they're around like the people they like. Like dogs are just way more genuine with their emotions, where cats are, you know, very manipulative. Now, not every cat's evil, but you know, cats generally are assholes. Like when you look at the studies on like their psychology, they are assholes. And yeah, some people love them for that. Like theory there, like absolutely, some people like them for that. But it's a thing, right? Dogs are very genuine and very loving, and cats are little shits, right? It is what it is. Cats can be good mousers though, right? Like, you know, that's pretty legit, right? Like that's maybe not as heroic as, you know, dogs finding people during disasters and things like that. But, you know, sometimes you might live, and there are all kinds of places you might live where there's like lots of rodents. There's some areas you can live where like rodents are an actual problem. And having a good mouse or cat can make a very significant difference. If they're trained well for that, they can make a very significant difference with that kind of thing. And that's good, right? That's really practical. So yeah, of course there are useful things about cats, but yeah, dogs are the best. Anyways, boys, I think we'll wrap up just because it's getting rather late. It's actually tomorrow, so I think I should wrap up here. But I barely did anything on this account, so I'll probably need to play it a little bit off stream just so I don't fall behind. But I'll try to save the good shit for the stream. But thank you guys so much for hanging out and seeing Big Gundam Guy. Fucking love. I'm so glad he's cool, by the way. I was worried that his ascensions would be weird, but I really, really like his stage 1, so I'm really happy. But thank you guys for hanging out. I might not stream tomorrow simply because I need to make a video. I'm not sure it'll be the most like editing intensive video ever, so it may not take too long. We'll just see. But I will try to stream as soon as possible, though. Like, absolutely. But I do want to make some videos. Anyways, I'm out of here. Let's see if we can raid someone. Pretty sure Cairo is still at the Anime Expo, so he's not available. But I only have 3 people that I am following that are streaming right now. And ain't no FGO. Let's see. Anybody streaming FGO that we could raid? Got an couple of streams here. I don't recognize anyone. I'll get raiding Cairo. That's the easy pick. I just spelled /Cairo raid instead of raid Cairo. I think I might be a little bit tired. Anyways, I'm out of here. Take care.